What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to our weekly comic wrap up with my good friends over from Comics Elite, Drew and Kyle. And it is a great week. I finally get a reprieve from my studying and writing an essay for for classes, which can be a arduous process. But I get to get a breather with these guys, and we get to talk comics. So, what's going on, guys? Thanks for being here. How's your week been? I see that Drew is wearing my favorite shirt that he owns. And we were just talking about it.
That was the greatest show in the history of television. Yes, not the Jordan Peele version, the Rod Serling version.
Well, that's
yeah. I feel like that goes without saying, right?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I'm really wondering how many people who have watched the Jordan Peele version have actually seen the original Rod Serling, let alone the '80s version that came out. Or
oh my gosh, yeah.
Forrest Whitaker.
Do people know that Jordan Peele actually had a Twilight Zone show?
That's another good question.
I think that's the better question. Is like, did people actually realize that there was a remake?
I don't know. I mean,
or a movie.
Or a movie. He is the new master of horror.
Yes, he is. Yes, he's
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just who's saying, yeah. It's always like, critics say. It's like what critics? Tell me which people are saying.
As far as I know, I'm fairly certain if his films came out in the 1990s, they would have been parodied on In Living Color. Yeah. By the way,
and rightfully so.
Yes.
Fair. But already we got Odega Outlaw. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Shieldwall of Dragons. Hail to you. JK, what's going on, brother? And of course, you know me, Mark McGrath coming in hot. Thanks, man. I was wondering. I was like, I don't see him. I was looking for you out there. Sure enough, there you are. So
a little slow that time.
Yeah. Come on, man. I expect those like the second I get in here now. Last week we were over on the Comics Elite channel. This week we're over on my channel, and then next week we'll hop on back over to Comics Elite. But how was the week for you guys in terms of comics? It was from what I saw, we got some Comics Elite theater,
yes,
which is always some of my favorite.
Yes.
But your skip-its this week, now they were like, and then your top 4, 5. It's getting bad. It is getting bad.
I am not kidding you. Like the last 2 weeks have arguably been two of the worst weeks we've ever had consecutively reviewing comics.
Yeah.
We've been doing this since 2021.
Yeah.
And this is the roughest patch we've ever had.
It's wild because normally when I'm the one that does, I'm like, I only got 5. You always give me shit. You're like, only 5? Like I have like 12. And I'm like, the fact that we both said, we only got 5, it was like, oh shit, that's bad.
Yeah. I mean, because even because I know Drew, you'll be a little bit more forgiving on some, or maybe you'll have like a different perspective on things. And so you'll have like a larger top. But for both of you guys to have both just a top 5, I was like, that's brutal. Now, I will say there aren't really, there are books that you read and you remember and you go, oh, that issue of that book is probably one of the worst things I've ever read. And I don't know if I've really felt that with the past few weeks, but the sheer volume of just monotony of reading those books, would you guys agree with that? Or does it feel like, oh no, each one of these is a rip it? Or is it just a volume?
A lot of these are just like, it's like you're going to a restaurant and it's just bread. You're just eating bread at a table.
It's like has mold on it.
Yeah, there you go. It's moldy. Like, wait a minute. Is this the same bread from a month ago? Wait, is it?
Yeah.
Right. This isn't good.
This isn't good.
But they're not. Like you said, they're not outright bad, but just filler. They're
And it's weird when you expect it from indies. It's like you generally can expect a few decent ones. But it's like, okay, when I'm reading a lot of Scout and I'm reading a lot, it's like, okay, I know what I'm getting here. But when it's Marvel and DC and indie, it's like, it is just constant. It's like, it just beats you down to a point. And it's just, give me a break. Like, do something good.
Yeah. And even and it's tough because I'd sent you guys a message about the one book that I had given a chance to, and I read it online. and it was like a kaiju book, and I was like, okay, this seems kind of fun and funny. It was awful. I mean, I wanted to tear my screen in half if I could. I mean, like, I couldn't, but it was legitimately the writing was awful, the pandering was terrible, the jokes didn't land, the art was meh. It was by the same guys who did the whole like Halloween party and Christmas party. It's like mean-spirited, just trash. And but yeah, even on the books that I try and give a chance to, where I'm like, maybe it won't be bad, I end up reading it and being like, this was awful. Why did I do this? You know, and that can really ruin your spirits, unfortunately. But
you get burned a lot that way.
Yeah,
you do.
One thing people tend to forget, it's that we don't read all these books at once. This is over a week. We get like we get Penguin, Lunar well ahead of time. We're not reading all these in like an hour a day.
Yeah.
A week ahead of time, and granted, I understand for some people who don't realize that, they probably think we're all reading everything in a day or 2 days. It's like, no, we got plenty of time. We're spacing this all out and taking everything in, making notes. It's like, yeah, this is not good.
Yeah. Now I will say, I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't know if I thought I will say, I think it was last week on our weekly wrap up, I said we were taking a look at the comics that were coming out, and I said, okay, out of the Image, like kind of indie stuff, out of the Miller World stuff and the Image stuff, I think Nemesis is going to take the #1 spot. And sure enough, it did. I mean, even comparatively to Ambassadors, I knew that it was going to bring the heat this week, and it absolutely did. So.
Yeah.
He does, yeah.
He did, yeah. He has both times, and just him and Jeff Lemire, they killed it this week.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Thank them. Yes, like, honestly, would have had a top none.
One. Yeah.
Well, I mean, your Mez would have had to maybe become. They would have had to roll over, maybe.
Yeah, would have had to have recommended a James Tynion comic.
My God, and I rue the day that has to happen. When it's like, or Tom King or somebody where I'm just like, this honestly is the best we can do.
Well, I mean,
Stephen King story by James Tynion. I'm going to have to recommend this. Jesus Christ.
And more long-winded.
Well, guys, I mean, Distillery or whatever that new comic thing is called, they have James Tynion. They have Tiny Onion.
Yeah.
Right? So
be a hit.
Who knows about that? They got him. Well, speaking of comics, Kyle, not Kevin, I believe you have a few that you'd like to show off. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Show and tell.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get some show and tell.
I had Drew pick up one of these for me.
I don't know why I did, but
I don't know why you did, but I'm glad you did. So I'm a big Todd McFarlane fan, and they happen to have a book there of a cover that I like, and I saw it. I had to have it. So the Batman 423 homage, the foily.
Nice. The homage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Developed in a chopa.
Yeah. Which I know, Mac, you're the biggest fan of homages. So.
You know what?
It's fresh too.
It is fresh. It's still in.
It's got that sticker, the Shop Fan Expo. Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. So unopened. Haven't even pulled it out of the sleeve yet. Yeah.
Hasn't even been breathed on. So, by me anyway. So another one, nice. I picked this one up on eBay after the fact. It's another Expo exclusive to 300, I think. I'm a big fan of Nottingham, the series. Drew, he's a big fan. He hooked me onto it, and they were doing an exclusive there for Nottingham. So this is actually an acetate gate. It's it's a 150. So it's an acetate. So when you peel this off, you get a severed head.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, I have that. So that's number 39 of 150. So
damn. Acetate Gate 2.0.
Absolutely.
That looks incredible, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, do they have 4 staples? Does it have 4 staples, and does it have 6?
It's got
and bear in mind, these books are well sold out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
The Batman, I think that's sold out the first day. Sort of the Shazam poos.
Oh, yeah, the Shazam poo, yeah.
And, yeah.
And then this last one, this was a whim. I've been looking for one of these for a minute. They're stupid expensive.
Yeah, now they are.
Yeah. Again, big McFarlane fan. I saw one of these at a decent price, so I thought I had to grab it. So it is an ASM 316.
Ooh, newsstand too. Very nice.
Phenom. Yeah, it is a newsstand.
Another one that's been homaged a lot.
A billion
Yeah.
times.
I think there's a fail-safe homage to this one.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm going to get this pressed and cleaned and sent off to CGC. So I got it for a good price. It was under $150, and it's got some tape up here. It could probably be gotten off of here, and it's got some creases you could easily press out. So it's a mid-grade. I'll 7.75 ish range with a press. Maybe you can get up to an 8. I don't know, but I just thought, I was like, I've always wanted one. So
yeah. Good finds, dude. Great grabs, and thank you for showing those off. I love that Venom is actually how the Venom Lethal Protector 2, the one by Michelini right now.
Oh, yeah.
They draw him very similar to that, in where he doesn't have the big drooling tongue and jaw and everything. They kind of have that almost evil grin.
Yes.
With the very OG kind of Venom. I don't know. Both are creepy, but there's something about that cover that's extra creepy. Just that grin is real unnerving.
Yeah, it reminds me of a panel inside, I think, ASM 300 with Venom just standing there. Yeah. Just like that big leering smile.
Yeah. We got Zaxx dropping into the chat, who says, "Hail Elite, what's going on, dude?" And we got the Woad Warrior. Good to see you too as well. I love McFarlane Spider-Man, my favorite. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a fan favorite for a lot of people. Dark Ride pickup for you, or did you always like it? Oh, Mark McGrath here. He says Noctera, Monarch, 8 Billion Genies, Radiant Black, Phantom Road, Little Monsters, All Against All, and Dark Ride. So out of that, those, Mark, it sounds like these are all the indies that you picked up. And out of that, I think Noctera, 8 Billion Genies, Phantom Road, and Little Monsters are probably the best out of the bunch.
Yeah, we're not reading the Power Rangers knockoff. We're not reading
All Against All.
Oh, yeah. That sounds familiar.
It does sound familiar.
Yeah. That one.
Dark Ride,
I jumped off Dark Ride after like the second or third issue. It was it was the silly evil theme park thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
The more evil Walt Disney as possible.
Cool concept. Executed poorly.
Amazingly fun. You could have a lot of fun with it. They make it boring as shit.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. A counterpoint to that was very fun was in the Venture Brothers. I think it was season 1 where they go to visit this evil Walt Disney type guy who has this Disneyland, like he has this perma grin smile on his face, and he has this panda eating a bamboo stick in a corner. You're like, wait a minute, is that a panda? He's sitting here in a corner. He's like, yeah, I won it off a game show back in the 80s from David Bowie. That David Bowie always was a trendsetter. It's a randomly hilarious episode.
I don't think I've ever seen that show. That might have to be one that I need to watch.
Yes, you need to watch seasons 1 and 2. Just watch seasons 1 and 2 of the Venture Brothers. They are amazing. Yes.
Nice. Let's see. To y'all, I've loved it. Been one of my favorite series. Didn't Williamson do the Haunted Mansion comic, as Haunted Mansion is his favorite ride?
That's his favorite ride?
I don't know.
Okay.
Disneyland is not too far away from me, and I have been on the Haunted Mansion ride. It is more fun during Christmas because then you got the Jack Skellington and you get the they dress it up differently than the normal Haunted Mansion stuff, so that's really fun. But I think the superior ride is Pirates of the Caribbean or Indiana Jones. Both of those are.
You're in the Midwest, what we're used to, it's roller coaster central here. Like in
that's true.
Island and Cedar Point. And you say like ride, I'm thinking the Beast, I'm thinking Son of Beast, the Vortex, Ireland's Fly to Fear.
Yeah. I love the juxtaposition between the names. It's like, let's go to the Haunted Mansion, and then it's like Moctezuma's Revenge because it's like kind of like drop off the edge of a cliff or like make your stomach come up.
The Beast and the Son of Beast, they're all wooden roller coasters. And like you get off,
you can hear it.
And you need to take Bayer like for 2 days
your
straight,
back is fucked.
Yeah,
every bone in your body hurts. It's like
because all the rattling and everything, your whole body's just been rattled to death from the wood.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. See, I gotta disagree with you, but Pirates is great. It's slower, but those animatronics are so freaking fun, and you got more drops too. You get little drops in the water and stuff. And the set pieces are really cool, like the pirate ships and everything. You got these massive set pieces. They added Barbossa, which was really cool. They added Jack Sparrow. But
a cool non-roller coaster ride I did enjoy, but this is like almost 20 years ago, was the Jurassic Park ride. I think Universal Studios.
Universal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Like you just see it's like things just got worse, and the dinosaurs get out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool ride.
Yeah, and then you see there's like a moment where you cross this one area, and you see the shaving cream. And you're like, oh shit, they got out and they got old Newman, because he's like, you see like all the shaving cream bottles that are in there. God, such a fun ride. And if you could put movies into S tiers, Jurassic Park is up there in S tier, in God tier.
Yeah,
yes, it is.
Can you imagine directing that at the same time you're editing like Schindler's List? I can't imagine that.
Look at like the amount of movies that were coming out in the 80s that were back to back. I mean, just bangers, man. And not just bangers.
Summers, like summer of 89. Summer of 89 is one of the biggest summers ever in history.
Yeah. 1994 with Jurassic Park,
Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction,
Shawshank.
Yeah, just
it's like all in the theater at one time. It's like, dear Lord, like, could you imagine that now?
No.
Yeah, it's like
these people are getting spoiled.
They are.
Now, I will say, I was spoiled last night. Drew, I don't think you'll appreciate this because you fell asleep, but I got to watch 4.5 hours of the extended edition of The Return of the King. I haven't had that much fun just in a while. Thank you for appreciating my my excitement, Kyle. It was
how was it?
It was incredible. It was honestly, so the last time I saw it in theaters was 2003 when I was a literal child, and it was almost better this time around, which sounds corny and cheesy, but I was laughing, I was crying, I was cheering, I was smiling, everything. It was perfect. And I saw things that I didn't see before. I saw it on the biggest screen I could possibly find. It was it's timeless. It's absolutely timeless. And Drew fell asleep doing it. So
we're going to be seeing Superman next week.
Yeah, we are.
Nice. Yes. Okay. Well, speaking of Superman, Ubermenches. Hey, look who it is.
Hey,
thanks for coming by, dude.
Yeah, dude. I'll bet you saw some things you never saw before seeing it on the big screen. Because also, wasn't it the extended edition?
Yeah, so it was the extended edition. Yeah. I've seen the extended cut before, but for a lot of people, I think they may not have realized it or not, because there were some scenes, like there's a scene between Faramir and Pippin in Minas Tirith that I forgot about, and it like totally hits home, and it feels like it's just part of the movie. It doesn't feel like an extended scene, and it's where Faramir, and I'm gonna nerd out, and then I'm done, and then I'm done. We can move on. But Faramir gives Pippin his old uniform when he was a child, and Pippin's like, "Oh, I'm not a warrior. I'd never fit into it." And Faramir's like, "I never really fit into it too. Boromir was the one who fit into that, you know." And he's just talking about the different character development between him and Boromir and the father and Pippin, and they have this like really great moment. Just brilliant, dude. And that's a cut scene from the original like movie cut, and I'm like, oh, why? There's so many great moments like that I just was holding on to. But
no, it's fantastic, and you get the wrap up to the Saruman story, which he just kind of disappears in the theatrical versions after the second movie. So there's a lot of stuff there. I would have totally gone with you, man.
And yeah, I was gonna say,
were I invited?
No.
The other thing was, were there any more seats? Because I had to find one seat that was off to like the very side. So I was like, I would invite you, but I don't actually have another seat to say like, hey, come with me.
It was empty. It was home watching Lord of the Rings on Amazon.
Yeah, the Rings of Power. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just marveling at what a masterpiece. It's like the book that Tolkien never wrote, The Rings of Power.
Oh no.
I mean, but maybe there's a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It was, I will say, it was a lovely departure from Rings of Power. Because you get Galadriel in The Return of the King, as she is
Galadriel.
like, Cate Blanchett, beautiful. She smiles a lot in the film. In the whole franchise, she does. And what do we get from Rings of Power Galadriel? Just, angry, pouty face, Captain Marvel face.
Well, she smiles when she's riding the horse, and it looks like the saddle horn might have slipped,
may have been,
it's pretty terrible. But Cate Blanchett was just such a perfect choice for that, and she did come off with all of the dignity and all of the grace and kind of the power, like the way that they shot her and the way that they lit her, and just her features. It really. Two geek roles I think that she's just really blew away was Galadriel. And then of course I thought she was, even though it's not my favorite movie, I thought she was fantastic as Hela, because she's just chewing scenery and having a good time, and just like even at the end where she's got Thor and she's like, I'm the goddess of death, like, and she's just like all excited about it. She's just a great actor.
Yeah.
And I will say, her as Hela, I don't care how old she is, whether she's, I think when she did that film, maybe in her 50s, or I don't know. But
I thought she was in her 40s.
I don't know. She looked dang good, though. I don't know how old she was, but she looked incredible.
But she was good at Aviator back in the early 2000s. She played, was it Rita Hayworth?
That's right, with Leo, right?
Oh, yeah. No,
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh, no, she was Katharine Hepburn.
Katharine Hepburn, yeah.
I think Gwen Stefani was Rita Hayworth.
There we go. Yes. A lot of Star
And Mark says, just go to show if a movie is great. Length isn't an issue, but if a movie is bad, it can't be short enough. Well, what's so interesting, Mark, is like when I watched it last night, it's 4 hours and 20 minutes. It felt like that. I actually wanted to watch more. I wanted the Fellowship to play, and I wanted the Two Towers to play. A movie that is 4.5 hours, and yet you still want to watch more. That's very, very impressive. As opposed to like the Justice League, which is 4 hours. It's like, all right, I think we're done here.
Well, if you cut the slow-mo out, then it's only 2 hours.
It's only an hour and a half.
Yeah,
it's 90 minutes.
Just watch it at 1.5 speed. You don't lose anything, and you save yourself an hour.
Thank you, Roman. I appreciate you looking that up. Or did you need to look that up? Did you just know because you're that much of a fan? Cate Blanchett.
He's like, listen, I have her birthday marked on my calendar. I send her a tweet every year.
Well, Aaron, it's I'm glad you got here, brother, because I got a video for us that I'm gonna have us or play for us. our friends have already watched it,
Mhm.
and we have thoughts. So let me go ahead and share this tab with y'all. Now, I will say before we get into it, don't, if you guys are watching this live stream, don't go to this guy's channel and dislike his video or anything. Don't go in the comments section if you don't agree or something. This guy,
it's his opinion. Everyone has their opinion, no matter how right or wrong they are.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
guys, just as a general rule, I think, we can have disagreements with people. We can talk about things that people put out publicly because they put them out publicly. But, as far as going and getting into fights with them and things like that, don't do it. It's not worth your time.
Nope.
Yeah. And I respect the hell out of him because he even says, I reserve the right that my opinion isn't the correct one on this topic. And you know what? To be fair, I think Comics with Bueller has been on my show early on in the days when I was just starting out, and I had done a charity stream for veterans. I think he hopped on. I'm trying to remember. So he's a really nice guy, very involved within the comic book YouTube industry. However, I vehemently disagree with this take. So I've got it on 1.5 times speed, so we can kind of just watch through it. But his take essentially says that he believes that comic shops should raise the price of new day one comics if you are not a poll customer, if you are not a subscriber or have a poll with that shop. Shops reserve the right to raise the comic based upon the speculator market and what the speculator determines it to be, essentially.
I have an opinion on this.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I already have an opinion on this.
Oh yeah. So I'll just kind of do a quick intro so you guys can.
Comic shops raise the price on day one new release comic books. The reason this is coming into play because a brand new Spider-Man book came out just last week. I believe it.
Which, by the way, Kyle, I think that's a key, isn't it? Did you guys review that? Did you guys review this one?
I reviewed Spider Boy. Yes.
Well, thoughts?
I had this book. I almost tore it based on principle alone. Just to give a fuck and just tear the shit out of it. I should have. I don't know. Looking back, damn it. But yeah.
Well, yeah. Apparently, this book is going for $15-$20 now. So it's key.
Stupid.
Stupid. The past 24 hours, I was in 2 different comic book shops, just randomly going through back issues, and a couple times people were rushing in, asking the counter guy, "Hey, do you have the latest issue of Spider-Man or Spider Boy? Number 7, do you have the Rainbows covered?" What the hell is going on here? I don't get it.
FOMO is what's going on because there's nothing in that book that's worth the cover price, much less the just opinion statement. Nothing in that book that's worth the cover price, much less paying any more for it.
Correct.
Yeah. Real quick, Drew, you got a question from Mark McGrath. He says, how does it feel to have the first story done and completed?
Oh man, it's like I said, this was my lifelong dream since I was in first grade to write a comic book professionally. And when you see stories that don't get finished at all, they may get cut off after issue 2, 3, 4. I was able to tell a complete story, issue 1 to 6, or at the beginning, there's a middle, and an end. I'm ecstatic about that, and it's due to help and the guidance from guys like Aaron Sparrow and Joe Corallo, just to help me tell the story, and hopefully we can continue to tell the story with Giaris after issue 6. We'll see
I want to do more, and I want Drew to be doing more Born of Blood. It's my goal to obviously it's not completely my decision, but I would love to have Drew working on the next Born of Blood series post haste.
What did you think of the ending to issue 6? What did you think of how it ended?
Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. I think that you did tell a complete story. There's still little threads, there's still questions about where do you go from here, which I always like. I always think that you leave somebody hungry for the next you tell a complete story, but you give them that little breadcrumb for the next the next thing. So I thought it ended really well. And if you guys have been reading Born of Blood, next week the final issue of the first Miss Meow series comes out, which has involved the helmet of Leonidas and some other things along those lines. So they do tie together, even though Born of Blood is set in the past. This has all been built to influence the present. So even if you haven't read Miss Meow up until now, I suggest you go grab it if you enjoyed Born of Blood, because I think that there's some stuff in there that you'll find interesting.
Absolutely.
Good deal. Real quick, Rachel, hello. Good to see you. Always great to see you in the chat. And Mark, he says, oh man, that's Bueller. He's a good egg. He is, man. I have nothing wrong with the dude. Like I said, this video is just me responding to this because me personally, and I know that these guys feel very similarly. I do not agree with this, but I do like Bueller as a person, and that's totally fine. I think that's what's great about criticism. I can still love the dude and still disagree with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this is supposed to be, Whereas other videos I've played on this, I have no idea who the person is, and we roast him a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different than Bueller. I respect the guy, and so yeah. I love eggs, all eggs. Thanks, Flaccid.
Well, I'm
All
glad,
right,
'cause that's what my head looks like. So.
That's good.
It was issue 7, and in that book was a new appearance of a brand new character in the Spider-Verse, I think Spider-Boy or something like that, which caused that book to go from regular cover price of $3.99 all the way up to $15, $20, $30, depending on where you purchased it. So the question is, should comic shops have the right to up the price on day one books? And you guys value my opinion, I value yours, so I'm going to give it to you guys right now. My response to that is, first, I have to say that I am pro comic shop, I'm pro small business. I'm also
So real quick, I wanted to stop it there because he does say I'm pro comic shop and I'm all pro customer, right? And so I think everyone
he's
within
pro
the
small
comic
business, pro comic shop,
small
pro small
business.
business.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we would all say that we want, I mean, currently in today's climate, we are seeing a lot of comic shops, go out of business or, have to sell their entire stock or have to make GoFundMe's. It's like comic shops aren't in the greatest environment right now. So I also want them to succeed, but it's difficult for them right now. So I think he may have been doing this in lieu to say like maybe this could help them in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that you guys are all pro comic shop, of course. I mean, Comics Elite. Like you guys actually have a shop, so
I actually,
yeah. Lights are still on for right now.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see. But yeah,
I'm also pro consumer.
well, and yeah, so he says he's pro consumer as well.
So that being said, should the comic shop be able to raise the price? Yes and no. I'll tell you why. I'll give you some solutions. First off, if you're a box customer and that book is on your pull list, that comic book should not be raised. You agreed to purchase those books at cover price. That's the contract you signed to have those books on your pull list. Depending on whether it's issue 6, 7, 8, number 1, you agreed to buy those books at cover price. So you should be paying that price and whatever discount is associated to your pull box, if there is such a thing.
Yep.
Now, after
And that I agree with. I mean, that's what a pull box is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that there's a little addendum to that, because there are people who do have pull boxes but don't really come pick up their stuff for like a month, 2 months, 3.
Yeah,
if you're lucky.
And then you got something like this piling up. Yeah,
and then when they
I have seen them before,
when they come in, they'll like try to pick and choose. Like,
They're like, no, I don't want that anymore. Yep.
Yeah. That gets real messy. I have seen that before, and yeah, I can get bad.
After that model, should you be able to sell those? Should the store be able to sell those copies at a higher price on the regular floor? On that thing, I say yes, they should be able to sell them for whatever they want. Now, there's a little caveat to that, and I kind of look at it this way: comic shops buy books for, let's just say 50% of cover price. Okay, 50% of the going value of the book. So if they paid $2, the cover price is $3.99, so they're making a $2 profit, or they're doubling their money. I think the markup value should be based on the same principle as that. So say the going price of this book is $20, okay, and then they should be able to mark it up by $10, okay, so they get the same profit margin as for what they paid for it.
So
Sean's always said like he's not trying to break even, because when you're buying a lot of these DC Marvel book indie Image, you're lucky if you're breaking even a lot of these books, and you really do hope you can make your money back on a lot of the incentives, and fortunately enough, a lot of the incentives, like on the secondary market, even before the day they come out, they're going for, some cases, not all, they're going for more than the ratio price, which is great, and you need to price those accordingly. Otherwise, I mean, I hate to say it, people can take advantage of you.
Listen, you know what? I'm gonna say I'm of two particular minds on this. I don't even need to know what all of his reasoning is. I can just tell you right off the bat, I'm of two minds of this. On the one hand, I totally agree with him on the pull customer issue. You know, you've agreed to buy those books, and with Drew's caveat that if your customer doesn't come in regularly, hey, if 2 weeks go by and you're not in there and that book is $30 now, guess what? I'm yanking it and I'm selling it because you're not here. You're not here. You know, like 2 weeks is a reasonable amount of time. You know, and you could maybe even make it a month if you want to, but that's a reasonable amount of time to get in and pick up your books, unless you already have an arrangement with the shop, like, hey, I can only get in once a month. You know, hold this stuff for me. You know, those are special arrangements. However, as far as like if the book's going hot, and you have regular customers that usually pick it up off the shelf, I would still provide it to them at that price. You know, if they, you know, that they come in every month and they buy Dan Slott's Spider-Man, that's you know, they're collecting that run, even though they don't have a pull with you, but they do pick it up. You know, in a lot of shops, you do have that intimate knowledge of what your customers buy, each individual one. So I would still sell it to them at that cover price. Any speculator walking through the door, anybody you've never seen before, who's like, oh, you have that Spider-Man, you know, number 7. I say it's fair game. I say it's fair game to sell it for whatever you want, because you know what? For once, the comic book industry is giving you a book that has some demand. You should make some profit on that, because they're giving you a bunch of other stuff that you know you're going to get stuck with. And with all their variant cover schemes and things like that, all the exposure that a comic shop has. I do think it's dangerous because there's the conversion aspect. The people that are coming in that maybe heard about that, could you maybe retain them as a customer and get them, you know, into a pull list and, you know, have a steady customer? Maybe, but I think that's going to be like 1 time out of 10. So I think that it's a balance of like, you know, what can you offer for cover price versus, hey, this book's going hot. I know this guy's just going to turn around and flip it on eBay. Why should he make $20 when the shop could make $20?
And that's the difficult part about it, is determining who is, you know, there to speculate and who is there. Because like I saw a comment on the video where this individual brought up a really good point, which is if you just plaster a $20 markup, you know, on the book itself, and now people are coming in and they're seeing that book and it's $20 or $30 or whatever. Say it's like a little kid who wants that new Spider-Boy book or whatever. That kid and that parent is definitely not paying $20 to $30 for it. So like you said, I think you have to well, and that would be the difficult part. Do you pick and choose who gets what price, right? Because if you're basing your price on a speculator market, you're essentially then getting rid of the speculator market, because how can that person flip that book at that point? Because they're buying it at, you know, so
they can pay for the risk. Just like the shop has to pay for the risk with the books that they buy. You know what? You're a speculator. Right now it's 20. Next week, maybe it's 30. So then you could make $10. You know, but we're selling it at 20. You know, and make them absorb some of the risk that the shop has to absorb. You know, you're not just there to get cherry picked. That's the other thing that's a problem. Like, okay, so let's say I order a case of action figures for the customers, and there's one figure in there that's super hot, and I know that people are going to come in, they're going to try to buy that one figure and not buy any of the rest. So I'm going to get stuck with that inventory to sell one figure at regular price. No, I'm going to mark that figure up. And if you want to buy the set, then hey, they'll all be MSRP. But you know, that one figure that everybody's trying to get and flip, or you know, it's the hot character and they only provided one per case. Guess what? You're going to have to pay a premium on that, because to help offset all of the other figures that nobody's going to buy. Because I had to buy the whole case to get that figure.
Right.
And I do know in the years past, when maybe Kyle can attest to this, if I'm how right I am on this, but whenever there was like a hot variant cover or whatever, Sean would have Ernie, the store owner, contact the poll lists people, contact all of them, let them know, hey, this book, just so he was fair across the board with everyone. Like he wasn't playing favorites, letting them know, hey, this book now is this much money. Is it? Yeah,
it would happen. It's a thing. It's real.
And I think you guys both bring up that good point, is that, like, you know, incentive rate or like ratio variants or incentive covers where, you know, whether it's a figure or a book, if I had to purchase 100 of these Spawn comic books that I know are going to sit in the back of my freaking warehouse get this one,
which is happening right now here in our warehouse. We're still sitting on Batman v Spawn's box still upstairs. I know exactly where they're at. And we have a storage facility filled with Berserker #1s, cases of them still.
Yeah.
So it is very real.
And that's
that and by the way, you're continually paying for that because that is a space. So it's not like that you just paid for it once. That's part of your retail that you're paying for every month. You're paying for that square footage, and that stuff is now taking it up. So now you're paying to store that stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of costs that go into this, and people get upset and they're like, well, I should be able to get it as cheap as it could possibly be. Well, no, you're not entitled to it. It's not, it's not a must-have. It's not a need item. It's a luxury. And sometimes you have to pay for that luxury because, to the person who's taking all the risk to obtain that for you.
Yeah, this box should be paying us rent. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's why this guy's point is wrong about, well, yeah, I'm buying it half at 50% cost and I'm making a 50% margin on this. It's like, no, I'm not, because the majority of them are sitting here not making any money. So it's like, you have to think about the totality of all of it, not just
there's so many books we're selling for $1, $2.
Yeah,
that came out 2 months ago just because you can't move them.
It's just like restaurants. You have net losses on your books. It's like, you're going to lose money on these items, but you're going to make money on these 2 or 3 things. That's just how business works.
Yeah, and if you can actually manage it, if you can position it so that one of those ratio covers that you bought pays for at least most of what you got, then you hit a point where like you still haven't made any profit until you have completely paid off all the books that you have bought. You haven't made any profit, and then once you've paid it off and people buy 1, 2, 3, 4 issues, well, now that's the profit that's coming in, and is it enough to pay your bills? This is a question that every business has to struggle with, and this is what people who don't understand the realities of business complain about. You see it on Twitter all the time. People who just don't understand the way that things work and the costs that are associated with running a business, especially if you're in a state like, let's say, fortunately, the guys are in Indiana. If they were in California, there's even more costs because the state is very hostile to small business. They just want to tax you to death. So, there's all these things that go along with it. So, when you walk into that shop and you're like, hey, I should be able to get this for, $1 off the cover price because I just walked in off the street. No, that's not how it's going to work.
Yeah, that's why Sean left California. That's why Sean, as much as he loves San Diego, California, he likes the Midwest a whole lot more, especially Indiana. Just, you said it's not that expensive as California. Yep. And you're right.
And you don't have a bunch of meth heads breaking into your shop every month.
That is true. What's
employees?
Just employees. But what's funny is that we had Zen, who's one of the editors that works with Merck and Black Ops for Sean. He lives in California. He came out here to the store and with his wife, and we're here in Greenwood, Indiana. We just have one door. It's a lock. We have tons of windows, and he's looking around. He's like, "Where are your roll-up doors? Where are your roll-ups for the windows?" And Sean's like, "What are you talking about? We don't need that." He's like, "You don't need any of that? What about security?" He's like, "I got a lock in the door." He's like, "Wait, you just have one lock?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's it." And he asked him later, "Hey, I think let's thing on my truck. Yeah, go out there. It's unlocked. Your car's unlocked? What the hell?" I'm not used to the way things are here in Indiana, especially in Greenwood. It's just, it is what it is. Yeah.
Even when your car is locked, you get stuff stolen off of it. Here in California,
they stole my bumper.
That takes effort. I mean,
I don't know if they got a crowbar and just popped it, but it just looks like it was just popped right off. And I don't know if somebody had the same make and model as my car and was driving by and was like, "Hey, I need a bumper. There's one."
What are the odds?
Yeah. And I wish he were joking, and I wish that this was like, "Oh, that's a funny joke." But no, I've seen his bumper, and it's not there anymore. Yeah. So yeah, it's very unfortunate here in California. But Mr. Negative says, "I'd say that the biggest issue is you're completely getting rid of the casual market or possible kids coming. No way a kid's parent will pay for marketed up prices," I think is what he said.
No way is a kid coming in to buy issue 7 of Dan Slott's Spider-Man. There's just no way that's happening. No, I mean, I almost said it to Max when he mentioned parents coming in with their kids. I was like, "Oh, Max, you sweet summer child. You think kids are interested in comics?" And,
I will say in our brick and mortar store, if we've ever had kids come in, 1, it was because an artist was in the store. 2, they came in asking for manga. That was it.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, you can mark it down for a kid. If a kid comes in and they're interested in it, we do this with figures all the time. If we're selling, something for a premium, but a kid comes in and the kid's got his allowance and he's like, "Oh, I only have this much," we'll work to get that kid the action figure. Even if you say something to him like, you going to open it right here in the store?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, yeah, I'll do that. And you're like, okay, you know, here you go.
Yeah,
you know,
that's cool.
Retail price, you know, just regular MSRP or even a little cheaper, you know, within our margins, so that we make a little something. But you know, it's one of those things where you've just got to quantify it. You got to know your market, and you kind of got to like size people up. I don't think there's a hard and fast rule, you know, I guess is what I'm saying, is I think that you know, there's just a lot of gray area.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think for me, when I first watched this video, I said, you know, for me there wasn't a lot of gray. I initially said like, no, comic shops should not raise their prices on day one comic books, just to kind of appease a speculator market. But I completely forgot what you guys are saying, which is, what if that speculator market comes in your store trying to then them make a profit, you know what I mean? And then screwing over the comic book store. It's very tricky once you get into that water. But because I was naively thinking, well, what about the regular customer? What about the kids that come into the shop? What about someone who's new and interested in books? And that I would be like, F no, I don't want them to up the book price. Why? You know, because they're not speculators. They're going to read this thing. But so that was my take. But you know, after hearing kind of what you guys have said, there does seem to be some gray in this issue.
From day one, working going back like 5-6 years ago, working with Sean in the store on New Comic Tuesday, he would have us checking eBay. That's when I learned with him, don't just check listed, check sold prices. See what they sold for. And that's when that would be like the great equalizer on eBay and everything else. See what they actually just sold for recently. And you could tell what was hot, what wasn't.
Yeah, you got to look at the completed listings and kind of get an idea of what the market is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think another thing you guys mentioned was like dollar store books, and like how Drew and Kyle, you guys have been in those back issues and seen just like how much of them are comics that came out a month or 3 months ago. Like these are
yesterday. I was digging through some 50-cent comics. I found copies of Echolands, every issue, tons of them for 50 cents. Yeah.
See,
my heart. Thankfully, no Merc books were in there, but it just Echolands. But not just that, but there are a ton of other Image books in there by like Terry Duggan and everyone else, and it's like, okay, that fits. But Echolands, really? Yeah,
But that's the thing, is that like, because in my shop here in California, when I go over there and I look through the back issues and I try and find like $1 or $2, you know, like just cheap stuff, you know, maybe from the 80s or 90s that's beat up, and I just want a reader copy of it, I can't find any, because it's all just modern books that are taking up all these long boxes. It's just modern books that haven't been sold within the past year, that like they're all event tie-ins, you know, it's all like what like Lazarus something, or you know,
Omega Delta.
Max, if you want, like one day I'll take you down to some thrift stores that I go to that have like old 80s and 70s, 80s, 90s comics, you know, beat up reader copies. Sometimes you can find some really nice ones. Like I found a near mint first appearance of Electra. The newsstand edition, like there, and it was like $3, and I was like, "Yep." I was like, "I have this book already, but yep, you know, this is happening." So yeah, you can find some really great stuff.
Yeah, we have half price books. I know in Texas. I know what's his name? He's in the chat. Josh. He knows about half price books down in Texas, and we have a bunch of them here in Indiana. And they sell a bunch of stuff from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So
dude,
have you guys ever find any of my Darkwing stuff in there? Please.
I'm looking. I guess I found that issue of Cars in one of the boxes back here in the office. But, I'm gonna do. He has a case of these. He has a pallet of these books he bought from Spencer in Canada, from like all these random back issues from like 20, 30 years ago. And I found a Kevin Nash comic that Morant Michaels did right on top of your car issue you did.
Wolfpack for life.
You know what I really miss is Hastings. Do you guys have Hastings there? I know, Josh, I know you have Hastings, because when I was in Texas, after class or after like football practice, or like, you know, after whatever we were doing, I'd go over to Hastings and I would go read some of the books that were in there, because they had like thousands of different comic books and graphic novels. And yeah, Hastings was dope. It was
That's
awesome.
probably why they went under.
Yeah, I know, right? Because because they actually had some comic books in there. But
yeah, I used to go when I would visit Arizona. I loved that.
Oh, was it owned by TJ Maxx?
I think so.
Okay, because I typed that in, TJ Maxx comes up, so I'm not sure if they're bought
or TJ Maxx bought them out, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then my good friend Rudy, what's up, dude? He's better late than never. What up, peeps? What is up, brother? Hey, I'm sorry I didn't see you at WonderCon, but glad to have you here now. And yes, of course, Josh. What up, homos? What up to our favorite homo? So, good to see you. And Jana also agrees. Thanks, Jana.
Favorite, then I've got to make some calls and tell some people. So I don't want to get into quantifying favorites.
Yeah, Josh, I think they're out of business at this point, which is so sad, but oh well. I think ultimately, I don't know if there's really anything else. Let me go ahead and share our screen. I don't know if there's really anything else that he talks about in terms of, like, he just talks about the margins and stuff. I'll kind of play a little bit more of it.
We would pay $4 for this book. It's going for $20. We would make that much money back. They only pay $2 for the book, so mark it up to $10. It's the same profit margin, if you see what I'm saying. I'm not that good at math. You guys can figure it out. I think I get my point across. I think that is a very acceptable medium for comic shops and the consumers. That way the consumer can buy the book and sell it if they want to, or flip it at a higher margin and make a little bit of money. They won't make as much money, but they will make some money. And also the comic shop themselves will also be making more money than they paid originally and planned on when they purchased the book. We run into this scenario many times. This is something that comes up quite a bit when there's new books and new keys. And also the question has to be, what is the time frame? What is the time frame between when a book comes out and it becomes a back issue to where you're free to pay whatever you want for it, whether $1 or $20 or whatever? Is it when the next issue comes out? That can be argued, no problem. But really, we want to support our comic shops. And if the comic shops have the opportunity to make a little bit more.
So that's kind of where he said, we want to support our comic shops. And to me, the best way that I can think of supporting comic shops is that the editors, the publishers, the companies selling these books to comic shops need to give them something to sell. And that's not on, like, for customers. I think the best that we can do as customers is preach whenever we have a book that's really good, like World's Finest or Batman Joker Deadly Duo or something like that. So we can say, like, hey, keep making more of this stuff and you guys will sell out of this. That's what we can do as a customer and keep buying it. But for these publishing companies, I think they need to make something that the comic shops can actually sell, as opposed to here's another 1 in 100 ratio variant or whatever. So,
well, they need, that dovetails nicely into the tweet that I sent you. If you want to cover that,
let's see if let me go ahead and pull that up.
But real quick, Sean will say, like, the margins on Marvel DC books, it's shit if you're lucky to break even.
Yeah, he's saying 50%, and I don't know anybody who gets 50%.
Yeah,
no, I think 30. I think ever since Diamond just absolutely screwed the pooch and shut down and hid under the desk during the pandemic, I think that them losing chunks of the business. I think now the best you do is 35%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
And then if you're offering $1 off cover, or you're offering some percentage off cover for bulk customers, you're making maybe 50 cents a book, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At this point, if you're selling Marvel and DC only, you're not going to be lasting very long.
There's no way.
No, you got to be selling manga. You got to be selling anime statues. You've got to be selling action figures. You got to be selling Funko Pops. I know everybody keeps predicting the Funko apocalypse. They keep saying, any day now it's going to take a Beanie Babies right off a cliff. But here's the thing about Funko. Beanie Babies were just generic stuffed toys. Mm-hmm. Funko has licenses, and they serve a lot of underserved licenses. So if you're somebody who's like, man, I really love the Golden Girls, I wish I could get some Golden Girls merchandise, there's Funkos for you. You're like, I was a really big fan of the Breakfast Club when it came out. What? There's Breakfast Club Funkos? I'll buy all of those. That's their market. That's the niche market.
I'm waiting for a Bionic 6. As soon as they do a Bionic 6 Funko Pops or a Mighty Max, I'll be there. But I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see what happens.
I'm dumbfounded at how many there are and just the variety of
diehard Funko Pops. I never thought I'd be a diehard.
the most random, like, hey, do you remember that show from 40 years ago? There's a Funko Pop. It's just like, oh my god.
Do you remember when
Jason?
Do you remember when Jason Bateman left Silver Spoons and he had his own show for one season called It's Your Move, and then it got canceled? Well, there's a line of Funko Pops for it.
Remember T-Wolf 2? We got that one. Yeah.
For the 3 people that remember, of which
finally
one.
Yes, finally. My time
is come.
Remember the Paperboy was Better Off Dead?
Yeah.
I want my $2.
Yeah.
This is my moment. Well, I mean, if there's any proof that Funkos aren't dead yet, or that they haven't gone off a cliff or anything, and Aaron, I told you this when we went to WonderCon. I was there to get in line for Daniel Warren Johnson's sketch at probably 6 o'clock in the morning. Doors opened at 10 or 11 or something.
You're
and
in the morning?
Yeah. Because he was only giving out 5 tickets for the day, and I was 4th in line.
What?
Or I got the 4th ticket or 3rd ticket or something.
Well, you were first in line until you realized that the line was somewhere else.
Correct.
That's the worst. Oh.
And when I realized that I was then, where the line was somewhere else, I realized that they were all Funko Pop people. So I was like, oh,
even worse.
Because they were all like, oh, so what Funko Pop are you getting today? And I was like, oh no, I'm here for a sketch. And they were like, you're not one of us. And I was like, oh, where? I started looking around.
At that point, I just want Nick Rekieta just to come into the frame and go, how embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because
it was
funny because look at all the dumb stuff I got behind me. It's all great stuff. I love it all. It's like, I collect all this, but someone's like, oh yeah, I have 3,000 Funko Pops. I'm like, dork.
It's like you tell people that.
Yeah. Fucking nerd. It's bad when nerds are shoving other nerds into lockers because they're that much nerdier than them. So yeah, no, I was in line early, but I realized I was in the wrong one, went into the right one. But even by being still probably one of the first 50 people into the convention, I still almost walked away without a Daniel Warren Johnson sketch. Cause yeah, like I said, he was only giving away a few tickets, and thankfully I got there early. But yeah, the Funko Pop collecting community is strong indeed. They came out in full force.
I've got a neighbor, and their entire living room is just a wall of Funko Pops. They've got their entertainment center, and there's just Funko Pops around it. And to me, that would drive me crazy. I try to keep at least one space that doesn't have a bunch of stuff. But so that would really affect my my OCD or my ADHD or whatever it is that I have.
Yeah. I think the majority of Funko Pops look like ass. Thank you, Justin. I agree with you.
I have that Funko Pop. It's just the ass from Idiocracy. It's the number one. It won Best Picture that year, including Best Screenplay.
Emotional damage. Yeah. But yeah, no,
Josh is right. The lines at SDC, for Funko Pops, I can attest to that. They are stupid. Yeah. The lines for Funkos, for Mattel, everything. I remember getting in one of those lines. And look, I've been in an active war zone. I've been to Baghdad, all right? Mortared every single day. I have PTSD from that Mattel line than anything I experienced in Baghdad, all right?
Well, it's funny because the entrance to where they let attendees in at San Diego is right by the little 20 by 20 space that they still allow for comic artists, in Artist Alley, where they, it's basically the size of it's the size of the handicapped bathroom stall at your average restaurant. They just keep shrinking it down. But
legends with these small tables, I can't believe it. It's stupid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they've got a TV tray and then no real weight, and this much space to get out.
Yeah.
Hey, but it's
do you think Kurt Busiek is going to be able to get through that much space? It's not happening.
Hey, but it's $4,000 for the day, so you're getting your money's worth.
They care about the popular arts, don't they?
What got him there? Yeah.
Yeah. So what got him to the dance? But those doors will open, and man, if you're an artist walking back to your table, watch out because you're going to get trampled. There is no line control. People run. They just run full tilt. You got a little kid or something? Oh, sorry, you're gonna,
you're done.
Yeah.
If
you're not up against the wall, you're getting out of line. If you're up against the wall, get out of line. You out. It's just like, what the hell's going on here? I just want to buy a Macho Man Randy Savage toy. What's going on?
With the Slim Jims. That's all.
Like I said, they were there. They were telling me that they were there at 4 a.m. because I was like, okay, I'm a little insane. Like, right? Like I got there at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's a little overkill, but this was something meaningful to me. So I was like, yeah, I want to get this sketch. I'll get there at 6. It's not a big deal. But no, I was still not even close because I was 2 hours late from when the initial people showed up at 4. So that shows you the dedication.
The dedication to profit.
Is it the dedication to profit, or is it the illness of wanted? No, I'm kidding.
It's a little.
Kyle. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. I'm
when Max was talking about doing something crazy like that. The one thing that Kyle and I can attest to, back in 2020, Alex Ross came out of his cave for the 1 or 2 times a year and did a signing at his museum in Illinois. Kyle and I were there at 7:30 in the morning.
We drove from
Indianapolis. People were already there in line, when we got there.
With
lawn chairs, parked it. And it's like...
We were there 4 hours early, and there was already a huge-ass line. And then we had to wait even longer. It's like...
I've become such a curmudgeon. I won't wait for anything anymore. Like, I was like what's that line, 10 minutes? I don't need that. I just hit a point where it's like I just feel like my time is worth more, and I don't want to I don't want to spend a night outside for. Actually, I was never really about that. Like, and people are like, we're gonna camp out and we're gonna get into Hall H. I'm like, no. And maybe it's because I was spoiled because I was on staff for a number of years, and have kind of seen the whole thing kind of like decline in the quality of programming and things like that. But I always had access to those things. And then when I would go to another show, I'd be like, what do you mean I can't just walk in? This is madness. So it's kind of funny. But no, I don't know. I value my time more than that. And if I have to, if I have to do all that legwork, I'm not interested. I would rather go pay somebody $20 more on on eBay, who waited for 8 hours to get that thing to make $20 profit. 15 after eBay takes their cut. Okay, no, just my time's worth more than that. I'll spend the money.
Yeah, if I'm running the booth, now. Like I used to be a runner. I used to be one of those guys. I'm not doing that crap anymore. Like I'm paying one of the young guys here. I'll give you $5-10. Go get these signed by these 4 or 5 guys. All right.
Mm-hmm. Have fun. It's a young man's game.
Yeah.
Well, there was nothing worse than going to and standing in Christopher Lloyd's line, whom I've had a relationship with, being Dr. Brown since I was a kid. I'm like, Back to the Future is my favorite movie of all time, and I'm like. This old guy, him and William Shatner both, these old guys signing these dumbass Funko Pops of themselves. I feel bad, but on the same point in time, you're charging $120 a signature, so you're not hurting that bad. But it's just like, is this what my life has become?
I will already sign anything anybody brings me. That's kind of just the contract that I have with people. If you bring me something Darkwing that you want signed, I'll sign it for you. I appreciate you checking out my work, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. But man, if someone was paying me $120, I'll sign your forehead. I'll sign your child. Whatever it is that you want to put in front of me, I'll start you right across.
Kyle, are you saying that you like Christopher Lloyd for his performance in what was it? Back to the Future, I think you said. I know him best from Mandalorian. I don't know if you've seen that show, but in season 3,
I'm not as learned as you. I'm not up to the nerd stuff like you.
You're really missing out. I mean,
I was
he's
thinking
a beautiful
Amazing Stories. I remember him from an episode of Amazing Stories back in the 1990s. He was a professor, had his head cut off.
He was charging $80 for that headshot to sign it. So
no, but watching the episode of The Mandalorian that featured Christopher Lloyd, as well as Jack Black, and perhaps one of the greatest actors of our generation, if not perhaps all time, Lizzo, is like staring into the face of God and having him tell you, truly, thou art my most wondrous creation.
Her dialogue sounded like not that ChatGPT wrote it, but that ChatGPT was saying it.
Yeah, it's like those videos where it just the robot voices going on.
Yeah,
it was so robotic and it was so simplistic. And look, the prequels have some of the worst dialogue in the world. There's one particular moment where of course, Samuel Jackson has the worst readings of any lines in those movies, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. The dark side surrounds the Chancellor, and it's like that's a really unwieldy line. And then Anakin, the Chancellor is evil, and then from my point of view, the Jedi are evil. It's like, you don't want to do a second pass on that line. You don't want to rework it a little bit. So, it's like, I can't go too heavy on The Mandalorian because it's not like those things weren't present. But for God's sakes, you paid $4 billion for this franchise and everybody's losing interest. Put in a little effort.
It's like Rich Evans has said this before. I forget which episode he said it on in one of the videos, but he basically looked at Mike and he goes, how does it feel to have all your franchises die before you?
Yeah, like just go down in flames. Feels great.
Feels great. Yep. In your lifetime, just see all these precious properties just go to shit. Like,
and a little segue back to Revenge of the Shit. I will say, read the novelization to Revenge of the Sith. It is amazing. The novelization that came out. I read it before the film and I flipping loved it. I'm like, can't wait to see this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like Aaron said, I'm like, you're going to go with that take? That's all right. Okay.
All right. Yeah. My favorite part is where they first rescue Palpatine and he's standing there in front of Mace Windu. And, he has like Palpatine's little entourage is behind him. And one of them is George Lucas's daughter in like this ridiculous purple outfit with her big old face painted blue. And the whole time she can't stop looking at the camera and then looking at Samuel Jackson. And it's like, I'm no longer focused on the scene. I'm watching her go like, oh man, I'm in a scene with Samuel Jackson. This is the balls, It's like, no, just stare straight ahead like the boring bureaucrat you're supposed to be, like, I know it's exciting. I know it is, but try to be in the moment.
Nepotism. I love it.
At its finest. Rudy, he says, I have to agree, the older I get, the less time I can wait in lines. Rudy, for me, and I know for your son, who is now a Marine Corps, Semper Fi, hail to you guys. Marines are really good at this. We've been taught to hurry up and wait, which is, I don't know if you've ever heard that term.
Wait. Yeah.
You have to get somewhere quick. It's fucking let's go time. You have to be here now. And then the second you get there, 3 hours and you're waiting. And then all of a sudden 5 minutes, we got to be there here, and then once you get there, 5 hours, and it's just like, oh, so
get to the tarmac.
Yeah.
Now sit on your gear for 4 hours.
Yeah. I remember I remember waiting 24 hours to leave Baghdad. We were going from station to station, hurrying up, get the next station. Like for 24 hours, then sleeping on the runway, waiting to leave. It was just whole day.
That's the beauty of the military, baby. That's your tax dollars at work. But Copa says, I thought it was so progressive that they raised on the
maybe she could have given a better line reading if it was in her native tongue, and she would have been like, Boshuda.
Another terrible line reading is in the new, not the Phoebe Waller-Bridge Indiana Jones movie, but the Crystal Skull Indiana Jones movie, there's a moment in there where he says part-time. I think the line is just part-time. And it's supposed to be like he's going, part-time. You know, like it's very like, do I do this on occasion? Part-time. But he says it like part-time. It's so flat and just
and in
awful.
The trailer, there's
a trailer, right? Yeah, trailer.
Yes, yeah, that's right. And in the trailer one was
the
good.
one in the film. Yeah, it sounds like he was asking if that was the line when he says it in the movie.
Yeah,
he's like part-time. Like.
And he's got the gravelly old voice where he's just, oh, do the fucking scene. Just tell me what my line is.
Speaking of Indiana Jones, have they played the Indiana Jones theme in the new trailers at all?
They play like a muted kind of version of it, like that's supposed to like bring you after playing like Sympathy for the Devil.
Yeah,
and you're like, this feels so out of place. And yeah, I know it's the '60s, but it feels so
not Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I don't think there's any period music. Is there any period music in any of the Indiana Jones films? Any like popular songs of the time? It's all orchestral, right?
So I think it's all.
Like, the only thing that comes to mind, it was probably just generic. Was in Last Crusade when they're in that hotel or whatever. She was playing the radio, whatever. And Indiana Jones goes in.
Oh yeah, or like I think Belloc maybe plays some music when he's got Marion.
Yes.
And where's Marion in this movie? Where's his wife? Are they going to give us the thing like, oh, she died off screen on the way back to her planet?
Oh
like,
no.
Where's? And I understand you didn't bring Shia LaBeouf back because he's a lunatic now. But like, what's it going to be? Like, oh, did he die in Vietnam or something?
Probably.
Like,
yeah.
I can only hope.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, but I would take Shia LaBeouf as Mutt Williams over Phoebe Waller-Bridge as anyone.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, she doesn't.
Hurts in Apocalypse Now. He's in a cave.
Can you imagine if instead of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, if it was Short Round?
Like
beautiful. How much different we'd feel about this movie?
Yeah.
Full circle. I'd be there. Absolutely.
I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Even if they were just like, hey, like even if it were like a member berry, just to like just get rid of Phoebe Waller-Bridge. What is she doing here? She has no purpose. She has no character. Like there's nothing about her being in this film franchise that makes me go like, can't wait to see this one.
It's
so
like,
Brown
showed up. If there was like one line, just him turning around and saying like, "No time for love, Dr. Jones," or something. Right there. There's nothing.
Well, that's what.
To this.
Okay, you know what? To that point of like pushing the nostalgia button. Can you imagine if in The Last Jedi, as god awful as that movie was, if instead of Admiral Holdo, it was Akbar who made the sacrifice play? Yeah, and it's like he turns the ship around, and you really want to push the nostalgia button. You have him say, like, you have him like on the thing with Hux, like, do you know what this is? And Hux is like, what? And he's like, it's a trap. And everybody would have been like, whoa,
yeah, you said the line.
Yeah, even like a champ. Even casuals would have been like, oh, I love the it's a trap guy. We don't even know what his name is, but they know that's what he says.
I don't ever want to see Niebnub ever again. I hate his face. He's the one who has like the weird face flaps.
Kind of like,
no more Niebnub.
Nine numb. Yeah, I felt really bad for him when I saw him in Force Awakens. For some reason, like it didn't like clue into me that like Leia has been just doing the same thing since Return of the Jedi, just fighting this war. It was like when I saw Nine Numb there, and I was like, oh, him and Akbar, like these poor bastards. Like they thought they won, but this is just like everything's been the same because there's no creativity from J.J. Abrams to do anything different or to have them doing anything different. And they shit canned the EU where they had formed a government by now and actually had some peace throughout the galaxy. They just had to bring back some inferior version of the Empire with the First Order, and now. Everything is building towards that. The Mandalorian is all towards, just solidifying and verifying those shitty sequels, while Doomcock tells us, oh, the Lucasfilm Civil War, John and Dave are trying to save Star Wars. Yeah, sure. Yeah, tell me that.
But the TIE Fighter had red on it. The TIE Fighter had like a piece of red thing on it.
Yeah, that was new. I never saw that before.
Yeah, the Stormtroopers look more stupid.
It's like 25% different for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah.
Just enough.
Like you could have done a revived Mandalorian Empire serving some Sith Lord, and just done something different. You still could have had the Imperial Remnant out there, so we got to see some TIE fighters and some AT-ATs at some point in the trilogy. But you could have done something different, like Lucas's treatment for it, or you could have just done Heir to the Empire.
Or
Boba Fett. Shadows of the Empire.
I remember Boba Fett.
So many Boba Fetts.
Boba Fett. I remember him. He was in the
greatest character.
Yeah.
I clapped when I saw him. Red Letter Media
Josh,
has such a major influence.
Yes.
Oh my God, of course. I've been rewatching all their old stuff, and I'm like, this is timeless. It all tracks. Like we're just like the stuff that we're seeing now in 2023 happened 5 years ago. They made fun of it then, and it still works today. It's hilarious.
Josh says maybe this is just me, but I welcome Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She's been part of some great shows. Go to hell, Josh.
Yeah, I can't agree with that. I can't.
Josh, it's just you.
Can you name who she's even on?
I'm sure the Fleabag will be the go-to, but
I tried to watch Fleabag.
There we go.
Yeah, when the first Indiana Jones trailer came out, and I got halfway through the first episode, and I was like, "Oh, I hate this bitch so much. Like this character is just awful." And everything she said was just like crude and awful, and I was like,
it's like watching a current female Marvel character in comics right now, and I can't do it.
I will say though, Josh, thank you for walking through Walmart with us on full volume. I'm sure everyone in there enjoyed our commentary as we're going, fucking bitch doesn't belong in Indiana Jones. Everyone's going, what is happening?
No, I'm sure there's some people in there who are like, ATST.
Yeah. Are those on the shelves? No.
Ray Palpatine action figures. Oh, there's so many.
You want any of those?
So
like a lot of Rose Ticos. Yeah.
Oh, my favorite.
You know, here's the thing about Rose Tico is when they were building up towards Last Jedi, and I saw Kelly Marie Tran like on the red carpet, and I saw her being interviewed. I was so excited for her. Like she was so excited to be in a Star Wars movie, and her kind of like her just general enthusiasm was really infectious. And I was like, man, I can't wait to see what she does in the movie. And they put her in a stupid wig and a potato sack, and made her like annoying and
frumpy
nonsensical. And I was like, this is what you did with this little bundle of energy that like was so excited. This is what you gave her, really. And I felt bad for her. I felt bad for Laura Dern, like just going like, what am I doing in this?
Yeah, dude. I think there are a couple of actors, even like the girl who played Reva. Like, you know, they probably told her in a meeting somewhere that, hey, you're going to get a ton of backlash. And this poor woman who just wants to do her job, play a fun character, gets no direction, gets terrible dialogue given to her that she has to act out and perform. But when I see her in interviews, she's really sweet and very kind and very excited about the project. And of course, Disney has to kind of ruin that for her and say, you're going to get all this backlash from all these people. And it's not us. It's the people who created the show that made that character awful and just really not that great to watch. And doesn't have a lot of depth.
I'm going to hate any character that survives being stabbed through the chest with a lightsaber.
Twice.
Yeah, and it's like, no, not happening.
Well, you're gonna hate any character that, like, when you show up to see Ewan McGregor play Obi-Wan again, and that's the draw of the show, and then he gets to play second fiddle to this other character that they want to push. You know, you're gonna hate the bait and switch. You're not gonna like it. And when they make her inherently unlikable, and they make her motivations so muddied, and they don't get the best takes out of her. That scene where she's like interrogating baby Leia is just awful. Her motivation switches because they can't just, and the whole plot just kind of falls apart. When you even have little baby Leia calling out like, yeah, I didn't understand how I was supposed to be under this coat. And, I just thought that was silly. When you've got a 5-year-old calling out the problems in your script, you should maybe do another draft. I don't know, before you get there. It's really sad what's become of Star Wars.
That's why.
But these are diversity meat shields, it's like they go and they tell her that. And then, for all we know, you got people at Lucasfilm that are sending her that stuff to generate the story, to generate the shield.
Wouldn't that be just awful, just sinister, but I will hope that never happened, that Lucasfilm wasn't actually the ones creating these like generated bot accounts just to create some, because like how how much of a piece of shit do you have to be to actually like do something like that?
Everything I'm saying is not outside the realm of possibility at this point, honestly.
Right, and that's what's so wild is like, you know, that could have happened. Just real quick, I wanted to mention this, Josh. This sounds like cope when comic books that come out that people like to give bad reviews for, and they go, well, yeah, of course it was supposed to be bad. That's what this sounds like.
And that's fine. That's fine.
You want to say?
It's fine that our character's supposed to be crude and awful, but I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. We still have Marvel.
Yeah.
But no, I love you, Josh. Because I will say, Josh, you and I both agree on one thing, and that is the fact that the actress for Miss Marvel is based as hell because she knows what the 616 comics are, and she is bubbly and fun and probably could hold her own show if she were given the right material. But
there's two things that there's two things that I liked in that trailer besides the obvious two things.
Yeah.
And those things are the Beastie Boys. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
The Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys song. They put that in there. So now obviously they put it in because the first line is "Don't tell me to smile." But it's still a good song. So you start to watch the trailer and you're like, oh, I like this song. I must like this. It's like they're trying to fool you there. But the other thing that I liked was I think her name's Iman Vellani, I think is the name of the actress.
She's got that bubbly, positive personality. She's got that.
She has charm.
She has charm.
Yeah, I don't like the character.
Yes.
I think the constant fangirling is annoying.
Yes, absolutely.
When she's like, "Oh my God, Nick Fury!" It's like, number one, I don't really know how. They've never established that Nick Fury should be a known entity.
I was gonna say, how do you know him?
Bullseye. It's like,
and if so, I think he would be a very divisive figure.
Yeah. After
but
everything
then,
the Shield has done,
But the moment where she gets like transported to that really cheap looking, it basically looks like they filmed it in the queue line of Space Mountain. Where Miss Marvel gets transported there, and then the bad guys are coming towards her, and then Goose opens his mouth, and all the tentacles come out, and he swallows them, and then she has that moment, and she's like, "Oh my God!" Like her reaction, I thought was great. It made me laugh. I was like, "That's cute." But those are the only two things, besides the obvious two things, that I liked in the trailer.
I will say my third thing, I'll add on to that. My third thing is the kitty cats. Yay, kitty cat. No,
yay, kitty cats coming down. Look, there's so many Boba Fetts.
So many ATs. Yeah, no.
How many Funkos you're going to get of those fucking cats? They're all going to have names, right?
Yeah, you're going to have to buy a figure pack.
You're going to get all figure pack.
Each cat will have a Funko Pop, and you have to get the whole cat Funko Pop of litters.
Can I throw out a hot take? On this whole I don't hate Brie Larson, and I didn't care for like the things that she said at that award show before. Obviously I disagree with all that. And I never watched her YouTube channel or anything like that, so I can't say that I'm like overly familiar with her. But I actually found it kind of endearing when she was at D23 and she was just kind of over it. And the guy's like, "Oh, you do more Captain Marvel," and she was like, "I don't know. Does anybody want me to do it?" I think she's just very socially awkward.
Yes.
And like when you saw her in the interview with the other Avengers, she's trying to banter, but I don't think that she has that ability. And so
she's trying to be one of the guys.
Yeah,
and it doesn't work.
I feel like
a new member in the club jumping in a club that's already been established, and they're like,
and they're probably telling her, go out there and be sassy and give it back to him and so she's probably got like a list of instructions of things that she's supposed to do when she goes out there, and it just doesn't work. So it's like I don't hate on her. I just think that obviously, a big part of this is just like when we talk about comic book writers, is some of the blame has to go to the editors that handed them this story that they have to write. The guy that's writing Red Goblin, that story was handed to him by an editor. So I can't completely blame him. He didn't come up with that. He's not passionate about it. He's just a guy executing orders, and trying to do his best with an inherently stupid concept. And I think that with Captain Marvel, hey, if you had a better director on that first film, you maybe could have got more out of Brie Larson. Granted, she already had put her foot in her mouth with her appearance on that award show and kind of like alienated people. But that's recoverable. If you came, and you got a really charming performance out of her, and because like I've seen things like The Room was good. That was all dramatic. You know, so like there's no humor, no like banter or anything like that she would have to do. And I liked her as Envy Adams, you know, in Scott Pilgrim. I thought she was great.
She was good in 21 Jump Street. She was funny in that. Wasn't in it very much, but I liked her.
It's funny because, you know, I probably follow someone more like Heather Antos or Vita Ayala or something. I follow what they say more so because what they say is, or who's the Heidi McDonald or someone like that, who's like directly involved within the comic book industry, to where I say that's just blatantly a lie, or that's false, or you're trying to divide people. Whereas Brie is become more of a meme at this point, and she's not like someone that I actively think about, right? I don't think any of us think about any of these people, but when you think about like Brie, I just always think of like, oh, the goofy Captain Marvel movie and the award show. But I don't know if like actively hate is something that there are people who definitely do that, but I don't know.
The only person I've ever hated in my life is Tom Brady. Growing up in Indianapolis, Tom Brady screwed over the Colts so many years. Yeah, you're gonna hate Tom Brady.
Look, you asked me who's more insufferable. Who do I find more insufferable, Brie Larson or say Mark Ruffalo? And Mark Ruffalo, hands down, can't stand that guy. You know, I just think he is the dumbest blank of wood, you know, that's in the MCU.
But more importantly, Kyle, do you get it? Do you get it, Kyle? Cats, Kyle. Do you get it, Kyle? Isn't that fucking funny, Kyle?
Cats.
Fucking hysterical.
No, they're flirkins. Remember when we all thought there was a really dramatic and cool reason that Nick Fury had lost an eye, and then it turned out it was just an alien kitty cat.
Just a little kitty cat. Just a little.
Bird expectations. Oh, isn't that hilarious? We're such good writers.
Daddy Max didn't simp for Heather Antos. That didn't happen.
No. Thank you for defending my honor. You simped for me. No, I'm kidding.
I'm the man who will fight for your honor.
You know what, ironically in all of this, Brie Larson, like her smile is infectious. Like I remember her in 21 Jump, like her smile, she just has a smile that can light up a room. And it's like, that's like a really good trait. It's like, wouldn't you want to expose that and have that as much as possible in your movie? I would think as your character, it's like there's just something weird. No, you can't smile because men always say you should smile more. You should smile more. It's like that's toxic masculinity. It's like you have a gorgeous smile. You light up an entire room when you smile.
I've had people tell me that, so I don't think that it's necessarily, you know, because like I tend to be like when I'm standing, I tend to like. You know, it's like if I'm thinking about something, you know, I tend to like have a really like kind of like see like my brow is furrowed and I'm gonna see. I had an ex-girlfriend that would always tell me, "Don't furrow," and she'd like push on my, you know, you're gonna get a wrinkle right here.
You're gonna get your 11s, yeah.
And so you know, but like I always do that, and I've had people like tell me to smile, and I didn't think that you know, I've had women tell me that.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, you know, they're like, "Oh, you should smile more." You know, and like if a guy tells me that, then I'll do something like I'll smile like really crazy. And like, your skin would make a fine poncho. But
yeah, there's a great meme. I don't have it on me, but there's I've seen it all over the place where it's like, you know, what if the roles were reversed, and it is a woman saying the things that toxic men say to women. So it's like the girl saying, "Hey, that shirt really looks good on you," and the guy's like, "Oh, thank you," you know. And then like the next panel is like her going, "Hey, you should probably smile more. Like you have a really great smile." And the guy's like, "Oh, really? Thank you," you know. And the roles are the reaction is completely different. Where guys will actually be like, "Wow," it's almost like an honor when they receive a compliment like that. But when the roles are reversed, oh, it's toxic masculinity and all this stuff. It is incredible, the different dynamic. But
it probably has to do with the amount of sleazy men that like can't give a compliment without having an ulterior motive. I think maybe that's
or maybe don't know how to. Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, guys who maybe
without like then immediately trying to chew the rivets off her jeans. You know,
there's purposes behind everything you say. It's like no.
Yeah, well, what I do all the time is because I'm very much like I'll say to Max, I'll be like, "Oh, dude, I like that shirt," or I mean, granted, all Max wears his black sweatshirts with Warhammer stuff on it, but I still like it. It's
comfy.
Nice, it's like the Family Guy bit where it's like the two girls at lunch and they're tearing each other apart like subtly with like but it seems like compliments. Like, I love how you can just throw on anything and call it an outfit, but then it pans over to the guys and two guys are eating and the guy goes, "Yeah, I like that tie," and the other guy goes, "Oh, hey, thanks," and then it just men. We know how to be fast. There's something that's very true about that. And if and I tend to be very complimentary. Like if I notice something, I just tend to blurt it out before my brain kicks in and goes, "Oh, they're gonna pepper spray you." Like I'll say to somebody like, "Oh my gosh, you've got like the Starbucks. The girl that's handing me my coffee through the window at Starbucks. I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you have really beautiful eyes." And I find that they're like, "Oh, thank you." And I don't follow it up with anything like, "What's your number?" or anything like that. I'm like, "Okay, bye," and I leave. It's just a genuine compliment. I don't have an ulterior motive aside from, hey, that occurred to me, and maybe if I tell them that, it'll brighten their day. So that's always my ulterior motive, is just try to make people happy.
And I think too that when you you've been able to talk to you've talked to people, you engage with conversation and talk to people of different of the male gender and female gender, and like you interact with all kinds of different people, so you understand like the nuances of conversation. Whereas a lot of people, I think guys who don't have that will go out thinking that this is how to talk to a girl, and then the girl's like, "Oh God, no, that's definitely not." Like, it's maybe the guy's more socially awkward or he says something weird. So yeah, I think there's definitely a stigma that comes with it, unfortunately. But and also looks play into it, unfortunately, as well. Like, I'm sure that if someone like Josh were to say the same thing that I were to say, someone, they'd get a creepy reaction from Josh. No, I'm kidding. Josh is the most.
I thought you were going to go the other way, but you subverted my expectations.
Which means that by me subverting your expectations, it's just already a good film. I mean, no, that's something. I'm talking about something different. No, Josh, you are gorgeous. You are the most handsome man on YouTube. Especially, like I said, whenever he gets his comic book channel up, I'm donezo. I should just throw in the towel because he's gonna take all my subs.
What's funny is like I've actually had a couple of women that I know that have watched streams like when I've been on aficionados and things like that, and Josh has been on, that have said like he's gay, and I'm like, he's gay, and they're like, "Oh, that's too bad."
Yeah. Women will always say like, "Oh, it's always the best looking ones, isn't it?" It can never be. But
whereas like
that's also,
I'm on a stream, people are like, "He's straight," and they're like, "Yeah." It's like,
like, "Oh, he's on our team."
Avoid that.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. I messed up. Sorry, Josh.
We do not associate with MacNeil Vine VP.
Thank you. No, I'll just. Can I remove myself from the stream? I don't even know if the host can remove himself.
We're not about hate or bigotry here.
We do not affiliate.
Snyder live stream.
Yeah. Disassociate ourselves. Isn't it? What wasn't that what he said? It was like we disassociate or we don't associate with them or something like that. Yeah.
What happened?
Man. Oh, you didn't? Do you remember when the Justice League Zack Snyder live stream, like the fundraiser they did, like 2 years ago, Max? I think like 2 years ago. Yeah, Geeks and Gamers. Yeah,
I think so.
They were doing a fundraiser for Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it was for like an anti-suicide cause. Yeah,
some charity.
Yeah, Geeks and Gamers. They did this charity stream for Zack Snyder. This was prearranged beforehand with Zack Snyder. They got on the call. And he was going to show up on the stream, to raise funds for this. And as soon as Zack Snyder comes on, he says, "I don't associate with such and such."
He's like, he was equating Geeks and Gamers to hatred and bigotry.
Yes.
And the first thing he says is, I dissociate myself with any hatred or anything going on here, and with anything associated with this stream. And so anyway, go ahead and ask me your questions about the movie, sort of thing.
So this is when the Justice his cut got announced from Warner Brothers. So if you're led to believe that maybe Warner Brothers, the handlers, came into him at the last minute and said, "Hey, we watched these guys. you do not associate with them. You want this movie released through Warner Brothers.
That's unbelievable. I if you had come on and you had done it in a way like Chris Pratt, I remember when Guardians was coming out, and at the time some of his co-stars were getting roasted because they said the word gypsy on Graham Norton, and they had to like come out and apologize. It's like, it's not gypsy, it's Romani, Romani, or however it's pronounced. And they were all having to like do the apology tour, and Chris Pratt came out and he did like a thing where he was like, I just want to get out ahead of things and say that I apologize for anything that I might say during this promotional tour. There will be a lot of hours and a lot of travel involved. I may be tired, and I just want to get out in front and apologize for anything that offends anybody, that blah blah blah. Like, it was very like tongue-in-cheek, kind of like, isn't this ridiculous? And it was great. If Zack Snyder had come in and done that, whereas like I come on and I'm like, I apologize for nothing. I regret nothing.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I had to grab some. Well, I had to grab some coffee real quick because, long night ahead of me.
You're not going to launch into like a 10-minute thing about your coffee company, are you?
Yeah, because fuck you if you do. I got to tell you.
I was so tired hearing about people's coffee companies. I know you gotta be on that hustle, but
coffee.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny that you mention it because Geek Grind just no, I'm kidding. Loot box.
Geek brand loot box coffee.
Yeah.
I've got a Ghostbusters figure that has the Star Wars logo on it. I think this might just be some unsellable crap that they had in the warehouse.
My favorite part is where he goes, they make such quality material that the box almost feels empty. And there's like nothing in the box.
That's what I associate with quality.
Yeah, and they just start losing their shit. Gosh dang it. But
speaking of gypsies, have they changed the backstory of Dr. Doom? Is it still established that his mother was a gypsy? Or have they kept that?
Oh yeah, no, I think it's still, but like I don't think they can use the word gypsy anymore because that's considered a slur. So now it would be like Romani or.
We're all getting gypped.
Well, the funny thing is like now, like I think it's even affecting like it's because D&D is going so politically correct and just destroying themselves to appease people who don't have any money. They like even the Vistani, which are based on Romani culture, they're like considered a racist stereotype now. Wow. It's like, oh, did they not travel around in wagons? Did they not do tarot readings and things like that, and occasionally con people out of money?
Yeah,
did none of that ever happen?
People, like, that's what they did. Yeah,
yeah. Like when I see a mob movie, I'm like, the Italian part of my heritage is not offended. Like that's an offensive stereotype. I'm like, no, I had relatives who were mobbed up. Yeah.
There's some truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah. The book Thinner, the movie Thinner. Yeah, I understand why Stephen King wrote that. It all makes sense. It's like.
Well, it's just one of those things where it's like, I understand if you're making up a stereotype that, like, like, why do the Irish own all the locksmith shops? It's like, I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's real.
I will say,
locksmith shop.
I will say there are a lot of my friends who are in Italy because I guess Italy has a large immigration issue, I'll call it. I want to be very sensitive because I don't know, I don't live there, but from what my friends say, that there is a current issue right now that there's a large portion of individuals that are immigrating over that do happen to be, that of that culture, and they will flat out be like, these freaking gypsies, and like these people rob my friends blind. Like if you were at the Colosseum or if you're at the Pantheon, like any one of these like large areas to gather, you'll find a lot of these people, and they'll be either begging for money or they will follow you and take your wallet or take your phone or something because they know they'll pickpocket because they're in these large areas with all these people packed tightly together, and you bump into someone, boom, gone. I'm not saying this. This is what my Italian friends are saying. So I have permission from them to say. But yeah, so that's very interesting about the
and the thing that as Italians that we hate about it is the fact that it's not organized crime. That's what we really like to see. That's like, well, you offer protection to a business, and and then you go in as a partnership, and then you run up his tab, and you don't pay any of it, and then you burn the place down to the insurance money. That's how business is done, not this pickpocketing bullshit.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear. Now, speaking of getting to business, would you guys like to go over this tweet that I've got geared up, or do you want to get into one of the comics that we read this week? I was thinking either Nemesis, or I was thinking, do you guys want to do a skip it or a top 10?
Let's show the tweet. We're not on Twitter. We don't know what's going on Twitter. We're
long time ago.
That is very smart of you gentlemen.
God,
So, Aaron, I'll let you take this one, brother, because I actually haven't read this yet, so I'm sure you probably have plenty to say.
Okay, so Daniel Laura starts out. All I want is for the business model for my industry to be more about reading than collecting. Otherwise, why collect? And then Vita Ayala responds, we need a reframe of collecting to keep it healthy and sustainable. The value meaning of a collectible object should come from whatever the observer brings to it, not how many there are floating around available. Collectors should be respected as readers and encouraged to read. So I just want to congratulate both of them on realizing that the value of a collectible is in the enjoyment of the reader. So when a person assigns a value to something, it then becomes collectible to them because there's something about it that they enjoy. And I would just encourage them to start producing product that brings that out in people, because the problem is that people have read their books and they're so boring that then they leave. They don't collect them. There's no reason to collect something that you don't like. The only people that are doing that are people who are hardcore Amazing Spider-Man collectors, right now, that are still buying this terrible run that's going on.
Buying
because
all
they
the
have,
variants.
they have all the issues. They're attached to that. So I would encourage both of them to go out and, instead of attaching all of their agenda to characters that never had that agenda and whose readers are not interested in reading about it, I would encourage them to go write something that is wholly created by them and see how they do.
Yeah.
See how many people collect it.
Yeah. Read or collect it, because that's the problem, is that, it's like, number one, this is always, I'm glad you guys have finally come around to what everybody has been saying, which is these books are unreadable and I'm not going to buy them. So make the book readable. Make it of interest to somebody besides you and your best friend.
Yes. And don't insert yourself into the book every damn time. Every interview they do on a book they're writing, they say, oh yeah, this character is me. I put myself into this character. I'm like, every time you don't have to do that. That's a weak, lazy sign. I can't do that. I refuse to do that.
I've never put myself into a story that like, except for the one issue of Darkwing where we humiliated ourselves, James and I. But it's like, you weren't here to read about me. You're here to read stories about Spider-Man. You're here to read stories about the New Mutants. You're here to read stories about these characters that have been established by creators that are, giants in this industry, and you're standing on their shoulders. And instead of telling stories about those characters and digging into what those characters' histories and what their perspectives are and what their motivations are, you're just taking yours and inserting it into their mouth. And that's the problem. That's why nobody buys your books.
But I think that they believe that that's what people want to read. Am I wrong in saying that? Because it's kind of that, Perch always talks.
I really think the majority of collectors and fans are like them, in which in fact they are wrong. And
right.
And majority of readers are like them and their friends. Yeah, it's just, no, whoever's telling them this, they are only supporting bad ideas, supporting bad behavior, and supporting everything that's not good for the industry.
Because
nothing happens in Blade Daughter of Daughter of Blade book.
No.
Nothing happens in that book.
And Marvel.
Danny wrote James Bond. I'm a big James Bond fan. When Danny wrote James Bond, I was pissed because nothing happened with James Bond. It was just about this self-insert character from Danny Lore who was playing poker with James Bond the whole time. Like, why am who cares?
Marvel editors seem to, and I guess maybe DC editors have been known to do this as well, but from what I've been hearing a lot from Purchase Channel is that Marvel editors in particular will tell individuals that are, selling their comics that their comic is doing better than it actually is. So the editors are lying to some of the creators and saying, oh yeah, people are loving your run. They're reading it like crazy. So it reinforces that behavior of like, oh, well, if I just write myself into it, people want to know about me or want to hear about me or my story, or people want to read, me inserted into this thing. So I think that, people like Vita and Danny and Stephanie Williams and Phillips and all the different female creators right now, I think all of them think like, oh, these are the stories that people want to read, and no one's telling them no, but their sales aren't. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it seems very very misconstrued. Like everything is just insane right now. But
by the way, Stephanie Phillips, only a very small time in the industry, and yet one of the names that was invited to go work at Distillery. Very prestigious. I wonder how that happened.
Distillery also has James Tiny Onion, who we were talking about earlier, and
and Scott Snyder.
Yeah.
All I know is Andy Moore put half of an effort into her book that she did, changing her dumbass Twitter name. She may actually have a book people could read. And that's what you spend most of your time doing, is being a fucking dipshit. It's like you wonder why you can't write.
But Kyle, it's funny. Kyle, don't you get it? It's gay DeLorean. Get it? Isn't that funny, Kyle?
I don't get it.
You talking about Mandalorians or DeLoreans?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Look, her friend.
Oh, interesting, Josh. Yeah. It's kind of that, Perch talks about this.
What? Whoa.
Josh, are we receiving news on the spot here? Is this incoming? Or what do you call that?
MVP exclusive.
Breaking news, yeah.
Well, this is what I always thought when Kelly Sue DeConnick had smashing the patriarchy in her Twitter bio, and I was like, but the only reason that you're in comics is because of who you're married to. That's what got you. I know that like you were in the Warren Ellis forums and all like that, and but like let's be honest, like and it's look, hey, however you get in is however you get in. I don't care. Like if you were just you were dating somebody and they introduced you to somebody and that somebody said, yeah, write me something, cool, go for it. But like don't pretend like you were this warrior that just came up. Just recognize the fact that everybody gets in by knowing somebody else.
And yeah, Mike has bad knees. That's a great name. I think we can all resonate with that one, Mike. But he goes, I think they only care what their friends and people who think like them want, which is a tiny audience of a smaller audience. Yeah. So it's kind of like the 1% of the 1% who will never pay for those comics or never read comics to begin with. So my question, and I was kind of trying to,
but they can
I don't know how to word
on Instagram and say, "Yay!"
Yeah, right. Or the Amazon top seller, number one for the hour, for the day, and then like, oh, okay. But yeah, I don't know really how to phrase it because I'm trying to articulate it, but I guess because my question with this is like, because he says I think they only care what their friends and people who think like them want, but do they think that their friends are a larger audience than it actually is? Because we know that it's 1% of the 1%.
And I think their quote unquote friends are enablers. I think a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep going. Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, you're healthy in any way. Just all that crap, everything, and just people who aren't actually being critical on the stuff that they're doing. Like they're not like Chevy Chase and Caddyshack. Hey, you stink. You're not good.
Not very good, are you?
Yeah.
No, it's just the echo chamber that they're in. They constantly hear the same shit over and over again.
Well, and then even the Twitter feeds are just like validation. It's like, oh, guys, I'm having a really hard time today, and but I felt like I needed to put this out so I could like get past it. No, you're putting it out there because you want everybody to go, you got this, girl. Well, no, maybe you don't have it. Maybe you don't have it. Maybe you haven't had it. And maybe someone needs to tell you that. Maybe your editor should have told you that. And your editor should be helping you become better and to tell more interesting stories and telling you to go read things and go meet people and get outside of your little immediate bubble so that you can tell some story besides this is me and my mom, having the real meeting that we had. And now it's in your comic book. I'm not paying for your therapy.
Yeah,
King.
Blade comic book.
Blade's daughter comic.
Look, if you want to tell that story and with your own Kickstarter, go fucking tell that story and see who buys it. I guarantee you, no one. Don't put that shit in Spider-Man, in Superman, in Batman, in Blade. And it's like
Blade's daughter.
And Blade's daughter. Don't make Blade a fucking cuck.
Tell your friends to put their money where their mouth is and go support an original project that you're doing where you are putting all that together. And I will respect the hell out of that. You were telling your story and you were putting your neck out there. But what I don't respect is when you hijack something that was created by better men and using it to just to hollow it out and just take the skin of it and stuff your agenda in it and then force it on us and expect us to pay $5 for it.
Correct.
Yeah. And sometimes, because there are yeah, I know Josh is killing me right now. You got this, girl.
No, you know what? I actually would have some very pointed advice for Joe Glass if the situation came up.
What's funny is, Aaron actually has some really great advice that he shared with me, and he's like, "This is what I would tell Joe." But for Josh, I feel like you could probably go into Joe's feed and tell him this, and he'd be like, "Slay Queen."
Someone had mentioned Richard Meyer talking about them a little while ago up in your chat, but one thing that Richard Meyer had said, I think it was a few months ago, talked about how when he was reading an interview that they gave, he had said it seemed like Vita had a learning disability. And I was dying laughing. I'm like, it probably is true. She probably does. She didn't learn to read till she was 14? Yeah. 13, she said in the interview. It's and this is your lead writer for all these series right now. This is insane. Yeah.
Well, even the video that Aaron and I did a little while ago, where we're talking about is the comic book industry kicking diversity to the curb? Because what they're doing to these writers is they're not actually preparing them for any type of skillful work. They're setting them up for failure, and one of the things that I put on there was a clip of Vita Ayala, and I was showing how Vita doesn't have any books out for the year of 2023, as far as I know. At least I haven't seen any that have come out. And one of the clips I put was Children of the Atom. And Marvel did a promotional video. Do you guys remember that one? Yes. Where she goes, they're like, Vita took really great time about making a backstory for each one of these characters. And then it goes to her and she goes, one of them is what was it? It was Zoomer. One of them is the Discord mod of subreddit, account or something. These off Insta. And I was like, who the fuck would give two shits about characters that have anything to relate with real the funny thing about Clark Kent is he's a mild-mannered reporter. That's that's and what he can do with that is he can do good, but at the same time it's such a juxtaposition, But to be the mod of a subreddit, I was just like, this sounds awful.
A personality trait.
No,
I would just like you guys to know that in my my upcoming creator-owned book, one of the characters has a TikTok. So I think that you'll be really interested.
Stunning and brave.
But a lot of see, look, hi Max. See, look, all ladies coming in here saying hi to Max. You're over here. It's like, hi Max. Hey, true, Kyle, Aaron.
Yeah. I don't want to see any of you guys. Actually, you know what? Let's just do this. Right. Thanks, guys. Hi, Steph. Hi. Hi, chat. Good to see you guys.
No, Steph is great. I'm just having a little fun.
No, of course. But yeah, I mean, no, you're it's sorry, I got distracted by my beautiful face when I put myself on the full screen.
Whole screen with you.
I was like, wow, this is great. You can just take over the stream.
People in the chat are like, why is MODOK down in the bottom of the screen? Why are they running the Ant-Man film?
Yeah, why are Beavis and Butthead up here in the corner?
Now, I will say though, speaking of self-validation, which I'm not trying to do, by the way, but speaking of self-validation, you guys were talking about how earlier there's this like echo chamber. I watched this and TikTok. It all fits together. There was a TikTok that I watched, and it was this guy who kept saying over and over again, "You are perfect. You don't need to change anything. The only thing that you do need to do is be more of something. So like if you're lacking in confidence, you need to be more confident or something." And I was like, that makes no goddamn sense, dude. Like
if you're overweight, you need to be more overweight.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's this new wave of Zoomers that think that, you're just perfect the way you are. Now, in the Christian faith, which I will say I'm a part of, in God's eyes, you are perfect. But, and that's the really important part, is that here on earth, in the real world, though, we are super broken and we have a lot of flaws that we try and better ourselves every single day.
Yeah.
We're all sinners, we're all broken, and we fail to be perfect. But when you think that you are perfect and you can just get more perfecter, you will never be humble. You will never feel or understand.
I'm sorry. I just started thinking of The Simpsons.
Oh, what's up?
There's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer said to Ned Flanders, didn't God say, "Let he who hath not sinned cast the first stone," and Ron Todd throwing rocks at Homer?
I'm just reminded of Demolition Man with that guy. I don't think there's anything special about me. He's like, "You inspire joy feelings with all those around you." And then get the hell out of here.
No, I think Chris Pratt did that once too, where he got up to accept an award, and the first thing he said was, "The world will tell you that you are perfect the way that you are." You aren't.
Yeah.
But that's okay. And it's like, and he goes into like this whole thing. No, it's like nobody is. And it's a ridiculous notion. It's a ridiculous notion. Like we all fail, we all struggle. And that's what we've kind of gotten away from, this idea that everybody's perfect, that everybody's like, hey, you just be you, just never apologize for who you are. Well, maybe you should sometimes, because we all fail, we all struggle, we all hurt people, whether it's intentional or unintentional. We all do things that that where we don't live up to our best ideal of ourselves, and we need to recognize that, not only so that we can better ourselves, but so that we can be more forgiving of people when they wrong us, so that we can have that level of understanding. And even as you become better, it's like, so we sit here and we talk about like people's behavior and the areas where they're wrong. And I'm not sitting in judgment of them, because I've made plenty of wrong mistakes. What I'm hoping is that somehow, by talking about it, it can be communicated to them ways that they can better their lives. There's so many pieces of advice that anybody who's read Joe Glass's Twitter could give him, but they don't. People who just sit there and tell you slay queen, you're doing great, you're doing perfect. They're not your friends. They're not your friends. If Max came to me and he was like, "Dude, you really screwed up here," and I just felt like I had to tell you. That's what a friend does.
Yes.
I had a friend once, guy I worked for, and I considered him a friend up until around that time, but he was cheating on his wife and his kids, and I confronted him about it. I found out and I confronted him about it, and he actually said to me, "If you were really my friend, you would support me."
Oh.
And I said, "No." I said, "I'm your friend because I'm telling you that you're about to ruin your life. And you're going to damage your relationship with your kids. You're going to destroy your marriage. You're going to lose your business. All these things that you own this business with your wife. What do you think cheating on her is going to do?"
Oh, that's worse.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, I said, all of the employees, they know what's going on, and they've lost respect for you. They don't want to work here anymore. They hate coming in now because there's just this uncomfortable, and that was his stance. If I was his friend, I would support him. I don't ever want friends like that. I want friends where, when I'm being an a-hole, when I'm doing things that are going to destroy, things that I've been building, and I'm making mistakes that are going to hurt me. I want the friend that comes in and is like, "Hey, you're screwing up." And if I tell him, "Hey, screw you," I want that friend to kick my legs out from under me. And if he has to, carry me out of that situation while I protest the whole way. That's a friend. The person who's willing to take those slings and arrows, from you, and possibly lose the friendship, but because they love you so much, they can't watch you go down this path. That's what friendship is. And that's what we should be doing for each other, instead of this patting everybody on the back and "You're perfect, you're wonderful, everything you do is great." No, you're a flawed human being. You're
Yeah,
kindergarten class. You know, life isn't.
Yeah. And this I feel like this happens with a lot of females as well. As I know a lot of my friends that are women that will say, like, you know, well, what is a woman? But women that will say, like, hey, you know, I went to my girlfriends to ask for advice on this relationship, and they just told me, like, oh, you don't need him, you're perfect, girl, like, just do your thing. And my friend was like, no, something's wrong, like, can you guys, like, tell me? And they always would just be like, shower her with compliments and stuff. And then she went to one of her guy friends, and he was like, yeah, you're too commanding, or you're too demanding or something. And she was like, oh, I guess I am. And so, like, little things like that where guys will tell you straight up and be like, hey, you're fucked up here, you know, like, or like something's wrong. And so I think that there's a level of love there, and just kind of a level of being confident with that relationship and being open enough to communicate that with someone, to say, hey, this is where I think you can, you know, you can adjust, but to also know that I'm not perfect, and I would never try and get, it's that you know, verse, don't take the plank out of someone else's eye before you've taken the plank out of your own eye. I have to recognize that I'm super broken, but the only way that I'm able to see that and see your brokenness is because we both are imperfect, right? Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot to that, but this I thought was kind of interesting. JK says this is a mean question. It's not a mean question, brother. It's a legitimate question. I especially with someone who
on several occasions. Yeah. Things in her bio, things in her bio, honestly.
Yeah.
So he says, but also says she doesn't make enough as a comic book writer. Does that mean she was as successful a worker as a writer?
I'm willing to bet she made more money as a sex worker than an actual writer. I'm willing to bet you that. But yeah,
I believe so.
I mean, the way the comic industry right now, I believe any one of us could be more successful as a sex worker.
Yeah, I like to think I was more successful in one issue of Born of Blood than she has been her entire run of DC Comics.
Yep. You may be right.
It's interesting because she's been handed every possible advantage that you can be handed from the industry.
Absolutely.
You know, continual work, even though you don't have any sales, and pretty much every issue of Harley Quinn that she's done has been promoted on Bleeding Cool. Like, they talk about every single issue. Who else gets that? Who else? Like,
we're not.
Guys like Scott Snyder don't get that. You know, where they talk about every single issue. You know, it doesn't happen. And it's interesting because, and now she's been handed My Little Pony. So this drug using prostitute,
Stunning Brave,
is now writing for children.
Yeah,
that's who IDW thought was appropriate to write a My Little Pony story, and to write for your kids. And you know, the weirdo bronies that buy that book. But
sorry, I just had to get a little giggle out of it.
I can say that I have a little bit of crossover because I wrote Anthropomorphic Ducks. But
Anthropomorphic Ducks.
But you know what's weird? Okay, just total aside from that, you know, and then I'll circle back around. I got the weirdest questions. I sometimes get the weirdest questions about the Darkwing comic. And one time, you know, because there's a lot of like cartoon stands, and like there's some that don't like me because I don't recognize their ships, and I don't put characters in relationships that don't exist in the show, and you know, so you know, the same thing like when Donny
how
Cates,
dare you?
When Donny Cates was getting flack from people who were like, well, why isn't Eddie Brock banging the symbiote? And he's like, it's not a sexual relationship. What are you talking about? You know, what are you talking about, weirdo? I had somebody write to me and they said, will any of the characters in your upcoming Darkwing Duck story be crying? And I was like, that's strange. And so I responded the way that I normally do, which is kind of like with it, you know, I kind of make a joke about it. And I said, Liquidator will cry, but you won't be able to tell because he's made of water. You know, Quacker Jack is a clown, so he's always crying on the inside. I said, and Megavolt, you know, he controls electricity, so he can't cry because he'd short circuit. And I thought that was just like a funny response.
Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah,
they wrote back and they're like, no, I really want to see the characters cry. I'm very interested in characters crying.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the Homer meme and just back into the bushes. I don't know if this is like a weird fetish thing or what.
Yeah, it's when
everybody.
Yeah,
it's
so there is that audience. So there is that audience for you know, oh boy, sex workers writing My Little Pony, sign me up. You know, but I just think it's a bad. I mean, IDW is so mismanaged at this point. You know, it's not a surprise. But like for Hasbro to like let that be going on is with their license is just bizarre to me. And all it's going to take is some, you know, some newspaper or some news show to pick up on that and run with that. And, I mean, I guess maybe it'll get them publicity. Maybe that's what they want.
Yeah, that's what they're probably hoping for. Yeah.
Mark is killing me with this one. Hey, you know, kids have to learn about equine sex workers somewhere. It's gotta be somewhere. So what better way than My Little Pony?
They don't call them sextrians for nothing.
Yeah. But on another note, in terms of just really quality material.
Oh God.
Can someone please explain to me how you literally have the same shit image, by the way. It's not even a well-drawn image. It's paneled 3 times with just dialogue. Nothing is happening. This is a Silver Surfer comic book. Guys, what are we doing? What? It's 2023, and these are the Silver Surfer comic books that are coming out. Yep. Oh, the panel changed. Oh, thank God there's something actually happening or going on.
You'd have no idea where they were at either.
Zero clue.
The cafeteria?
Yeah, could be.
I don't know.
And not even like a subtle difference. Like he's not even got a different hand here, or she's doesn't put her hand down from her face. It is the same image across the entire page. This is pathetic. I cannot in good conscience even call this a Silver Surfer comic.
Well, if you were the artist and you were given this script and Marvel's current page rates,
oh yeah,
wouldn't you just be like, wouldn't you read that dialogue and be like, I'm not drawing a different panel for this shit. Like, you know, like you become Harrison Ford at that point. You're like, I'll draw the goddamn book. Just give me that. I'm just going to repeat this panel 3 times because none of this matters. It doesn't matter.
That's very true.
On top of that, this is a character who was in one issue of Silver Surfer back in the 60s, died, and is randomly brought back because the writer thought everyone wanted to see this character. It's like,
I liked the red. I liked the AIM agents in red with the jizz guns. Though that was pretty good.
Spook guns. Yeah.
I wanted to show that just because I thought we could all come to see that. So
together.
But yes,
the thing I like about
come
this
together.
Book, the thing I like about this book is the story has a lot of spunk.
But yeah, I mean, this is bad. I mean, this is this is about as great as a jizz stain. It's
or a Steve Franklin comic.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing. It's there. Nothing happens, and I feel like it is a wasted potential. No backgrounds. Not just the art, but the writing too. Just feels like such a missed opportunity. Reed Richards should be in this.
Eating. Every issue has always had a page, several panels of the family just sitting down and eating. Every issue so far
takes place in a house and a lab under a house.
Silver Surfer, is he inside the house surfing? Is that what's going on?
He's in the basement in the house on his surfboard.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Well, I mean, if you got that silver, you know, are you gonna walk up the stairs? Come on, you're gonna get on your surfboard and surf up the stairs.
You can't fit in the house. What are you doing? It's like, get out of here. Like, why? Where are you going?
I know, right? I like this dialogue too. They go, Mr. Surfer, something's going on with our kids. Donnie, Glenda, when did this start?
When did what start?
Yes.
Why do people this is like when characters walk into a room and they go, okay, so take like Batman v Superman. Superman lands, Batman's on the roof. We need to talk. Batman starts shooting him, you know, and it's like with machine guns, and it's like, you know, stop, Bruce, stop this. We need to talk. Well, you know what? You're talking. Why don't you just say the thing?
Yeah. It's that Drew. I think you do this a lot in the Skip It's and Mez, or whenever you read I think it's one of the event books when they're always like, we must do something. Yes, I agree. We must also do something. And then they go back and they go, let us meet together and we shall talk about how we must do something. And it's just constant back and forth.
Yeah, because you keep the characters from actually communicating because you need, you don't know how to properly set up the action that you want to happen. So what you do is you keep the characters from communicating when there's no reason that they wouldn't talk to each other and diffuse this whole situation. But you have the situation in your mind, and it's the problem with writing, setting set pieces, and I need the characters to do this, and then not doing the legwork to get them there, or not even, what's an even better option is having the actions that are going to occur come out of the characters themselves.
This I thought was really interesting. Well, interesting is a subjective. This I thought was a bad choice. Basically, I think this is the aunt or the mom or someone, but she goes after Al says, "Donnie, Glenda, when did this start?" She says, "What do you mean, Al? This started with you, you patriarchal male." She goes, "You need to figure this out." He has been. He was
dead.
She's mad at him because he came back from that. She's like, "This is too much. You came back from the dead, and now Tom and Josh and I just. I'm sorry, I didn't stay dead. I didn't really have to like, I just woke up. I'm sorry that I came back."
She literally patronizes him for existing. She's like, "This started with you when you woke up. You need to figure this out now. Now that you subconsciously, like, you didn't wake yourself up. You didn't come back to life yourself. That wasn't your doing. But now that you are here, you do need to figure this out, though. You stupid, dumb
you need to do better, Al."
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
You need to do better. So he goes, "Okay, I'm so sorry."
Mad. You can have her be frustrated. The problem is that and this is the problem with, is like, she will be treated as if her perspective is correct. You could have her have these feelings of like, "I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. We warned you. We thought you were dead, and now you're back, and we don't know how to react to this. And everything's, like, I don't even know how to address this." And you would be like, "Fine, I get it. I understand." She's snapping at him, which is, not cool. The guy just came back from the dead. It's not his fault that he died and then came back. But like, I understand you're frustrated. You don't know how to deal with it. Like, you can get that across and you can do those things, but like, it's just so lazy, and it's because. What people are getting paid, it's not worth going back and doing a second draft on this stuff. And the editors aren't asking for it anyway, because they're probably not even reading it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
just shut up, make me a sandwich, and I'll fix this, no problem.
It is pretty tragic, because like you said, there are ways to make this story better. However, this story in and of itself, I think, is trash because
it's completely unnecessary. Does not need to exist.
Like I said, I think we've done issue.
You brought it up. You showed the original issue he was in. This ruins the legacy of that character. It ruins the sacrifice he made.
Absolutely. It ruins the sacrifice, and it also gives him, because he had more agency as a human that he now does as like a superhero type figure, cosmic being, because
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern, sure, John Stewart, Green Lantern. And I think we had talked about this when we were talking about issue 1, but the dude that, like, the kids inadvertently, mistakenly touch the gun, which then so happens to reignite the fire, gives him zero agency. So he just happens to exist now, as opposed to, and that's why I love these streams, is because we always get to like retroactively or retrospectively go like, what could make this better? And the thing that can make this better is Reed Richards and Silver Surfer have a run-in with the Stranger again, but this time they need Al's like tech from his lab to do it. So they have to wake him up purposefully. So it gives Al an actual purpose and an identity and gives him agency. But instead it's just, oh, the kids actually booped a button and it's
they brush the spunk gun. The spunk gun goes off. And
I stepped on the memory store sidewalk and it put my whole backstory up.
There it is.
Where I touched the wall of the ship and it showed me the entire history of the villain.
You're welcome.
These shortcuts. And I saw that back in, so when we were doing Darkwing Duck at Boom, very famously they took my story ideas and the scripts and things like that, the things we had laid out, and they handed it to somebody else, and James and I were ghostwriting it, but we never got like dialogue or anything.
Wow.
And then we got to correct it with the Definitively Dangerous edition. But the very last story we couldn't correct because that one was just taking the ideas that we had and going in a completely ridiculous direction. And the guy that was doing it, wrote himself into a corner where he had to explain the backstory of where Gizmo Duck had been for the entire run. And so what he did was he had the ink, because Gizmo Duck had been possessed by the Phantom Blot's ink, like so many of the characters were throughout the series. The ink all of a sudden just spit out a slide, like help me Obi-Wan Kenobi holographic slideshow of where he had been, like what had happened to him. And it even said in the caption, like, this is only possible because of the ink. And it was like, number one, how does the ink work that way? And number two, who's talking in that caption? Like, is there all of a sudden an omniscient narrator? Like, is it the suit that's saying like, oh, here's my backstory, only possible because of the ink? And it was just, and it's like, and at the time I thought that is awful. And now I see it in big budget movies. You see it happening, and you see it happening here. I really like that panel where the mom's like, kids, do you want something to eat? And they're like, hell yeah, we do. We're in a Marvel comic. Let's food, man. food. Let's sit at a table and talk about Marvel.
Not just that. Every issue has had the family sitting down and eating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do families do together, Drew?
Talk about jazz.
Talking jazz. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's how they found the. I think that's how they found the gun. Is they were singing the jazz song?
Yeah, because he was talking about John Coltrane or some shit, and it's like
that's right. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, hey, is this,
good memory.
Is this a saxophone? And the kid blows.
Yeah, it's
saxophone.
But that was pretty bad. So let's get a palate cleanser here and actually look at something good. Hey guys, it's the Summer of Love. Remember this from a couple of years back?
Hey, look at that. That's mostly peaceful going on outside.
Yeah, mostly peaceful.
Super
I'm
mostly
actually
peaceful.
Have to bail out. I have not read this, so I can't really contribute much to it.
Okay.
I don't want it spoiled.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah, you don't want it spoiled.
Had a great time tonight. I will see you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for coming by, man. I always appreciate it. So
yeah, bye to everybody in the chat. Bye, Steph.
See
you guys later.
See you, brother. Take care.
See you later, man.
But yes, you guys, this was your top pick of the week, correct?
Absolutely. And it's only more sad when you think about there's only one issue left.
I know.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's it? No.
Please,
keep us.
How long have we waited for this?
Yeah.
It's like
just keep us going all year, please.
Yeah. I mean, what would you guys recommend if they did do an ongoing series? What do you think would be best to keep this on? Like, would Nemesis
different city, different police chief, different police chiefs?
Yeah, do it around the world.
And they established in the first volume it's a different Nemesis every time. There's a whole conclave of these guys. It can be a different one, each arc in a different city. Yeah. That's all I need.
You can do it through different years, different centuries. I mean, you could go.
They're just going back to the 80s. They're setting up in the 80s with the missing president from 1981. It's like, what is this? I don't know.
The whole National Treasure series right there.
Josh says, bye, Aaron. Yeah, we always love having Aaron on the stream. And thank you again, Aaron, for coming by. I didn't say thank you, but yeah, it's always a pleasure having you, brother. So if you're still watching this or if you get a chance to watch the rest of this, always love having you. But Josh also says, hey, look, art that looks like art. Wouldn't you know? What do you know?
Or an apartment somewhere. I can already tell.
Yeah. And how it's McNiven who's doing this one, right?
No, it's a Jorge.
That's right. Okay. I was thinking of the last series.
Yeah, better.
Oh, you think? Oh.
I'll say this. Jorge's art is better than McNiven. I love McNiven. I love his art.
Take.
But But this art by Jorge is terrific. It really feels like a superhero Batman, like evil Batman comic. Reading this with him on the art,
right? Here, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, I do like Jimenez's how he portrays Nemesis.
Yes,
the body type, the musculature, the suit, everything looks.
That smile, that smile the whole time. It's like you always see that evil smile.
Yeah. Abomination AJ, what up, brother? He says, I'm reading Power Rangers. Drew, I think was that one that you were reading? reading for a while?
I was up until Ryan Parrott left. When Ryan Parrott left and they brought in this new writer, it's not what I wanted anymore. Like I have the first 2 or 3 like hardcover compendiums that they made, like the definitive, like year 1, year 2, 3. I got them home because I love them. Great reads. But now it's like, it's not the same.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, gosh, who knows what's going to happen once we start seeing a different creative team on World's Finest and stuff. I don't know if it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
Yes, exact. Time will tell.
So this intro was really interesting. I liked their dialogue a lot. I liked the back and forth between this woman who used to be a cop, and she's saying, like how our country, like what our country stands for now, and how people have completely given up, and maybe it's just our time, like Rome, like Spain, Portugal, England. Maybe it's just our turn, right?
Yeah. All nations fall eventually. Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting. Kind of, I don't know if it was social commentary or if it was just, how this character in particular thought. But where was it? But I don't think anyone can save America now. It was something like they were both talking about, I think it was both Nemesis and this woman who was basically saying that like people now in America will literally kill you just for like a sneaker, or literally kill you just for oh shoot, I forgot where it was, but
there's a certain degree of underlying truth to it.
Yeah.
Because there have been instances in the past, and he's inserting like some truths about it. But I'm sure Mark does not believe that. No, Mark, no, absolutely not. He's just inserting like, these are what these characters would say with this. This is that character's point of view on things.
Yeah, I think it's
what a character would think, not me. What that character would think about it. Yeah.
That's weird.
Correct. Yeah, because she's so cynical at this point. She's lost her ability to walk. She doesn't have any purpose anymore. She's watching the city that she protected burn in front of her. But this was the line I was looking for. She says, "Now the people are empty inside, and they'll murder their neighbor for a pair of sneakers." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like 2023." And even Nemesis was like, yeah, very possibly.
Yeah, very possibly.
But yeah, this is when like I started thinking like, oh, maybe he's got a little bit more of a compassionate side to this one particularly. And then just as quickly as I thought that, they're like, oh, bet. Yeah. Yeah, no, that ain't happening because he's still a fucking savage.
Yes, that's why I loved it. I was like, oh, are they? It's like, really? They're doing this? And I'm like, there it is.
Yes, yep.
It just reminded me of
and he took it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No turn with it. Yeah.
I love these two, like these two old fucks, and he's like giving them shit.
The poor guy's like, yeah, why are you doing this to 2 innocent people? And this little line right here makes me think Nemesis knows everything about everyone, right?
Yeah.
He says, "Do you really want to do this here?" And just that little line, oh, Mark Miller, dude, you're a god of writing.
It reminds me, honestly, the line. It reminds me of a joke I would do with my old ex-girlfriend. We would do this a lot of times, like. If we're out in public, one of us said a joke, like a silly joke, whatever, like we would playfully, one of us to the other, like lean in, like loudly whisper, "You're embarrassing me," It kind of reminds me of that. Do you want to do this here? Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, it feels like, because he, this old guy's complaining and he's like, why would you do this to 2 innocent people? But Nemesis, I feel like has the real them in mind. He's like, do you really want to do this here? Do you want me to air out who you really are in front of your wife?
Air out what you did. Yeah.
No, burn in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Now burn this bitch.
God.
It's so brutal. Now I actually do have a what do you call it? A gripe not a critique. It is a gripe about the only one moment in this book, but everything else is perfect.
How dare you?
How dare you? How dare you?
I know.
It's perfect in every way.
Or apologize for even thinking it.
The only thing, and I'll show it right now, just because you guys probably know what it is, but I didn't understand this. We're just okay. The train's going, the mayor's here, and then he's not there. It kind of ruined the verisimilitude for me, and I was like,
well, look, go back. Look how wide the tunnel is. He could have easily jumped to the side. He's got
I know Nemesis got out of the way.
Yeah.
Right. But how did the mayor get from this chair onto the atomic bomb?
We don't know what time has passed.
Yeah, that's true. We don't. Yeah.
So you're saying that maybe this could have been pre-recorded?
Or keep going back up.
Yeah.
Okay, was the train empty with him? Was it just him on the train, or was there? I forget what the situation was. Was it just him?
So it's just him. Yeah. So
he could have been knocked out on the train and drug out, like, it would be via a gas or whatever. And
yeah, because the only thing that I go, this seems weird, because the mayor gets on the train and even the like loudspeaker says, like, take your time. You're the only passenger on the platform today, and our driver isn't going anywhere until you're ready. And then you see, like, he's being held at will.
There are people on the train, so they probably, who knows? They probably held him at gunpoint and took him off or knocked him out. Who knows?
But he says, I hope you don't mind me streaming the whole thing. So this whole time, it's live streaming, right? And people can see it.
His truth.
Yeah. So unreliable person.
Unreliable.
Okay.
How much of that is true?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we see him here, the train is racing through. We're seeing him here. We're watching him on the live stream. And then the train goes through the tunnel. And on the other side of the tunnel, he's not there anymore. And that's when the cops are like, go back and play this again from every angle.
How long after is that scene
exactly.
when he left the tunnel? I mean, how
long is that tunnel? That tunnel could be a mile, half a mile. We don't know.
I don't know. It looks.
And he's saying tunnel coming up. He's obviously communicating to somebody.
Yeah. So, but like I said, only gripe. Everything else about this is perfect.
It's like a Batman thing. That's why I consider it to like that. It's a Batman thing where Batman doesn't move like that. It's like, how do they do that? It's Batman.
Your gripe is all right. It's a perfect book.
But maybe we'll get an answer in the next issue. We'll see what happens. But I understand where you're coming from. But I'm giving. So this is what I can do with a writer who's talented, and I can go with it because I'm confident in what the story he's going to tell. Whereas if it's someone like Danny Lore or whatever else, T. Franklin, who can't explain this stuff, will do it. It's like, no, you can't pull this bullshit past me. I'll give Mark some leeway, not you. So yeah. I'll give Mark some leeway on this because I'm hoping there'll be some answers.
I can too. I mean, when you really think about, even what was it, issue 2 or 3, where Nemesis is going through his trials and he's had to hold on to the top of a waterfall for 3 days with no food, water, or sleep, and you're going, is that really feasible? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So like, there are moments where I'm like, okay, I can forgive it. It's Nemesis.
Jumping a car and flying through a helicopter, grabbing a guy out of the helicopter. It's like, okay, unless you're Tom Cruise, you can't do that.
he can do that. I believe that, but
that's fine.
Yeah, that I will forgive. But yeah, no, JK, Silver Surfer did come up the stairs or down the stairs with his board, I guess. Yeah, some unreal. And we don't need your public hanky-panky stories, Drew.
Yeah.
Oh well.
That was a long
time. God, this image is horrifying.
I know. Love it. So
just
good.
the one open eye that's just in absolute, devastating shock and pain.
Can you imagine that? You're burning alive and you can't do anything about it. I mean, that is a fate.
Can't move. Yeah. Can't move, can't scream, can't do anything.
Yeah.
And then just Nemesis fucking taking dudes out.
Fuck the
police. And caps the mayor, blam, right in his freaking like thighs and kneecaps.
Blam, both legs. Yeah. Both thunder thighs. Yeah.
Both. BOF.
Both.
Yeah, both.
Both of them. This I thought was really cool too. I normally dislike on a large level meta commentary.
Oh yeah, Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah.
But this was actually kind of interesting.
Wait, doesn't he talk shit about his own book though? Like even ones that you've barely heard of.
Yeah.
Are on billboards. It's like, it's good.
And that's the thing is like how many people that have read Mark's stuff know that Jupiter's Legacy is his? Maybe no one, right? Or if you're just getting introduced to this for the first time, they would have no idea.
Or how many people reading this know about the ambassadors?
Right.
Yeah.
Or
so
yeah, no kidding.
He says t-shirts, movies, comic books, toys, even the ones you've barely heard of on our billboards all over town. What secrets are they trying to tell me as I make my way to the final challenge? So this sounds like the villain. You know, this is coming from the villain's perspective when he even talks about, you know, are these hero capitalists with billion-dollar fortunes our fantasy saviors in America's final days? That's what a villain would say, you know? So the whole capitalist thing didn't bug me because I knew that it was coming from the point of view from the villain of the story. Exactly. You know, when it's the hero saying, "Oh, you know, I don't think we should be hoarding our money. We should be like giving it because capitalists are bad and blah blah." I'm just like, "Oh my god, dude, get over yourself."
So
but it makes sense.
Chip Zdarsky write that? So it sounds like Chip, right? But yeah, there are instances like that where it's like I know Chip does that, and with Tom King, it's whatever he can do to berate Batman. You know,
yes,
yeah, it's just like, nope, not gonna put me this time. But with Mark, I give him all the benefit of the doubt because he's giving all these characters their own unique perspectives and points of views on heroes, villainy, what's right and what's wrong.
Yep. And it makes total sense for each one of these characters to say the things that they do and act the way that they do. Did this, when you first saw this, did you think Nemesis was in the room?
Yes.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay.
I did. I honestly did.
Okay. Because that was my first thing too. I was like,
what's he gonna do now?
I know. I was like, leave the guy alone.
I
Or
know.
maybe
apparently
she's Nemesis. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, she could be. It's a strong woman. Easy, man.
Strong.
Tread carefully now.
Tread careful. Well, I mean, sure, because Leah Thomas is a award-winning, you know, stunning and brave.
Thank you. Yes, she is.
I like how you paused. You were like, "What's he gonna say?" Oh, yep, that's the right. Yeah. And demonetized. So, yeah, his wife comes in, and this is like a proper reaction. Like she is so afraid of because she's seen him in the light of he's perfect. He has done nothing but good for this city. He is a upstanding citizen, a man of honor. So she sees this and she's like, "This is awful. This is my husband, right?" Yeah. And he just goes, "We've all got our flaws, Nat."
Yeah.
Oh, and what that means, what that entails,
we don't know. Does she know?
We don't know. Yeah, she may not know. I don't know.
Yep.
So she may not want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I do like the
night before, and he's already up walking.
I was about to say this is a really cool shot. Not just because of how it's drawn, but because of the impact that it plays. Because you're basically showing a man who is walking to his death in defiance of this villain, who's been shot twice in the legs, and who probably has maybe a kind of iffy past. And he knows that he's just walking towards, you know, death and confidently.
He's going to face it head on.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's a cool notion. And I like that a lot. So this was a pretty impactful panel because it wasn't just, oh, you know, cool guy walking down the street. Like in what was it, Drew? X-23 that you sent us. That was like,
oh god,
I'm walking away from cool explosion from Wolverine Origins.
Literally, shot for shot.
from Wolverine Origins.
That's what you hate. That.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you're gonna pull from a comic book or a movie, pull from something good, not Wolverine Origins.
Origins Wolverine. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and then this is kind of our final panel here, but yeah, are you ready to answer some difficult questions?
Mayor Boom? Question mark.
Mayor Boom. Yeah. Good stuff. Yes. Good stuff. There
is this missing president.
Yeah.
Whatever this whole history right here, like the dark secret of this missing president from like 1981. It's like, what is it? It's like not only we have the mystery of Nemesis and the police chief, you got this dark history of the United States with this missing president. It's like, what is he building here? This is insane.
Yeah. Gosh dang, I want this book to keep going, man.
Yeah. You're gonna wrap all this up in one issue?
One neat little package.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you've got one more issue to wrap up the president, the president thing, the mayor, potentially more of Nemesis backstory, because the next cover is him as a kid. You know, so this is the covered issue number 5.
Yep, like I said, he's an unreliable narrator, and we got his origin, so hopefully we'll see another side of that.
Yeah, man. I don't know. And in the background, you see in the shadow is that like weird devil horn thing, which was the initial guy who gave him the president, book.
Yeah, the book.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, this has been excellent. I've really been enjoying this.
Red Booth, right there.
Red Booth, baby. Yeah. Good stuff.
I know Mark would never do this, but all he would have to, even after this series ends, all he would have to do is get a guy like Brett Booth, no dialogue, just have Nemesis going through like an office building or a political like pundit building and just murdering everyone. And people would buy it. And it's like, shit, that's the character. That's what you had to do.
Could you guys imagine a Mark Miller, Brett Booth, Nemesis? It wouldn't be Reloaded. It'd be Nemesis
World Tour,
like world tour. And instead of a campaign, like a world tour for a campaign thing, he's doing it with politicians on their campaign.
Yes.
And politicians that are trying to campaign for their, presidency or whatever. He's just exposing all their flaws and
taking
just
out
going
all
out.
Security armed guards one by one.
Yeah.
Mercilessly. It's like,
yes,
I'll gladly buy that over everything else I'm reading right now. Please.
And you think about the creativity too, because you get Mark writing the types of Nemesis is killing these people brutally. I think Kyle, you and I went over that issue where he hooks all the cops onto the boat and he just lets the boat fall into the ocean. And I was like, fuck me, dude. This is like so brutal. And something like that, like these really creative, awful scenes. Now imagine Brett Booth doing those illustrations though. So yeah.
Hell yeah.
Gosh.
He poses as like high donors for all these guys because we can get in there. He has unlimited money. So he's like, oh yeah, I funded your campaign. I funded your campaign. I funded your campaign. All this shit. Yeah. It'd be great.
Super rad. Were there any other books that you guys would recommend or anything that you wanted to rip? Anything that sticks out that you guys can think of?
Honestly, it really just we'll say the Ambassadors was really good by Mark Miller again.
Okay, nice.
But I mean, the stuff that Marvel's pushing as an event like that Captain America Cold War, who gives a shit?
Oh yeah,
a white wolf trying to control the negative zone. Fine, sure, cool. Give it to him. Thank you. Go away.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Well, we got to call it Cold War.
Yeah, it's
because it means something to people. I guess. I don't know.
Then it should be like the negative war.
Yeah, there you go.
Because war is never mind. It's applying too much. That's injecting too much thought.
Did you guys read this one?
Was this a digital comic?
I didn't.
Because I sent you guys a PDF. I did read it, and it was stupid.
Is that a he? Is that a she?
That's supposed to be Connor Kent now. He's reverted back to the 1993 Superboy.
Oh, you know what? I did see this because I think Richard Meyer had posted something about the chest peck, the peck chest,
the uni,
yeah, right here.
How large her thunder thigh is, yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I really like this character design in this character.
Well, yeah, because it's a callback to the 1993 Connor Kent Superboy, and it's like, okay, that's cool. That's a thing. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
But the story is,
Phantom Road was good. I mean, anything the other Jeff Lemire books, both of those were good.
Yeah. Oh, Little Monsters.
Yeah.
But it came close to Nemesis.
Nope.
Again.
No. Oh, you mean White Savior number 4 didn't do anything for you guys?
Oh, Kyle, you love Traveling to Mars. You love.
Hey, look, you know what? I never actually opened this one up. I have no idea what it actually looks like.
We order one copy every time, and it's just for Kyle because Kyle enjoys this so much.
You're going to see nothing happen in this fucking book because nothing happens in any book. It is the same thing every issue. Good stuff, him talking to himself, him not shutting the fuck up, and talking about how much he misses his fucking girlfriend. And that's it.
I was going to say this looks pretty spicy.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure Mark fought against that.
Oh yeah. Can't have that.
Yeah.
That's it. I miss fishing.
You know, it reminds me of that movie Moon with Sam Rockwell. Never saw it. Never saw it? Did you ever see that one, Max?
No, I never saw that one.
It's a guy who's working on the moon, just by himself, has a robot and everything, and comes to the end of his tour. But then he discovers like there's more of him underneath the moon. That's a big plot. You know, he's all cloned or whatever. And because every time he thinks he leaves, his body's being destroyed, and a new clone is taking his place.
It's like Oblivion.
Ooh.
Yeah,
with Tom Cruise.
Is it the same? Oh my God, is it the same plot?
Jesus.
Wow.
Is that, you mean the one that was supposed to be called Live, Die, Repeat or whatever?
No.
That
was Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
And it's just 1,000 Tom Cruises.
Tom Cruise is.
Mark McGrath. Hey, you know, I'm glad you love that book and Mark Russell, but okay.
Right. At least he's not. You guys are wrong about that book. I love that book. You love it. You're full of shit. You love that book. Will you stop?
Wait, where?
Nobody loves that book. Even he doesn't love that book. You can't love that book because there's nothing to it. You're
you see this guy at a convention, he is the most miserable man on the planet next to Tom King.
You can't love that book because there's nothing to love. Don't start. You can't do that. I'm not buying it.
Hey, at least Mark is honest when he's talking about he's not ruining Superman. When Mark McGrath is talking about Mark Russell ruining Superman.
Because he already ruined Superman. Then he ruined the Fantastic Four before that.
Oh, yes,
oh, that's right, Mr. Negative. That was the Round Robin book. Oh, here you go. Here's a good question. Because they did that Round Robin DC thing, and they were like, "What characters do you want to see, like in a new series or a new solo book or something?" I was thinking about it. I want a Lobo series and I want a Hawkman series. What characters would you guys want in a DC or Marvel book?
So Keith Giffen, he was on Facebook. He put out a poll. He asked people, "It's like, hey, if I were to come back and do a series of DC Comics, what character should I do? Who should the artist be?" First thing I said, Lobo with Simon Bisley. Guaranteed that'll be the top-selling book. You announced that Keith and Simon the Biz are back. Holy
Coming
crap.
back.
Yeah.
There will never be. Well, that's an overstatement. The cover that they did is super iconic for Lobo, where his tongue is out and he's biting on his tongue and it's bleeding from it, and the little blood is like, Oh, you got it?
Yeah, we just have here sitting on. Just happen to have one of these.
Signed by Bisley too, eh?
Yes.
Oh, very nice.
Is that in there? think
is the Sheriff Lobo in here? Maybe I don't know.
He's got a lot of
Oh my god! Some of
sexy.
It's like some of these. I want these sketches. Man.
So that's my copy, right? No, I'm kidding.
I'm going to talk to Sean because this is just used as a paperweight on the back of his desk.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, I mean, look, we're sitting at the desk of a guy who used the Hulk 181 graded copy as a coaster.
Yeah,
so,
like triple signed.
Yeah.
Stop.
I'm not exaggerating.
No, it was sitting.
Oh my god.
Yeah, below things for years.
Dude, that is like I would sell my savings right now to have a signed Hulk 181. That's incredible.
Like $2,700. I'm like,
yeah. It reminded me was with the one Wilson brother where he's running this porn website. And he's like, "Is this a check for $1 million?" Sitting underneath a Snickers bar.
Mark McGrath says, it's still bad, but he's staying away from characters I love.
Okay.
Let him ruin his own crappy stuff. Who cares?
That's
okay.
fair.
It's not in here, but he did an awesome. I had him do an awesome sketch of Lobo. He was like,
on the whole inside cover.
Yeah,
like he took up that entire page.
Yeah, he took up this entire page right here and like did a sketch of Lobo for Kyle.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'll do that next time. I'll share it next time.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Mr. Negative, that's a good question. Do you guys have anything by Giffen that you'd recommend?
What can't I recommend? But this, if you look at this guy's name, his name is attached to almost every character in the DC universe. It is ridiculous. Like I remember one time I just tried doing a deep dive. I'm like, what's this guy done? He's done everything from the Legion to Lobo at DC Comics. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it just
that's dope.
But the thing, like I said, I would recommend the Justice League if you want a good, 80s periodical laugh. The team, it's fun stuff. I enjoy the Justice League for what it is. At least it was legitimately somewhat funny with the characters involved. They're all unique, which is cool. His Legion stuff was good, but Lobo, my God, Lobo's where it's at. Yeah.
It was one of the most probably defining factors that made the main man what he is today. I feel like because you see that cover of Lobo on his first appearance, and he's riding that motorcycle, and he kind of looks like a goofy clown.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a clown a little bit.
Yeah, and you're going the Bastich is himself. Like, this is our main man.
Yeah.
And then Simon Bisley and Keith Giffen came along, and they just like, okay, boys, here we go. Like, this is what we want from a Lobo series. So
what's funny is I met Keith at HeroCon back in like 2019 or whatever. We were taking a bunch of Lobos like every day to sign to sell. And it wasn't just me, but he'd always tell me, like, I'm signing a bunch of Lobos lately. I don't know what's going on. And like I don't know if his daughter was like, well, there's that Krypton show coming out, and Lobo's a character on it. He's like, oh, really? You think I'll get a check for that?
No.
No. Oh, that's cute, but no. Funny that you would think that.
Yeah.
So, so if you guys could choose a different or anyone other than Lobo or Hawkman, who else would you have in a new, DC just launches a new series, they have a new creative team, and they go, these are the characters that we're going to put in a
so not like
series.
My own personal like Ambush Bug series I want by
Ambush Bug, eh? All right. Kyle's face.
I love Ambush Bug and the
fucking Deadpool.
Anyway, okay, like if I want to put butts in seats, character, writer, and artist.
My character would be Hal Jordan because I want to see a good Green Lantern series again.
Yeah. You would think, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I think they're doing. Oh, you're good. I was just going to say, because I think they're doing a Jon Stewart series coming up in the next few months, right? But yeah, I mean, the last Hal Jordan series that I remember that was really good was the Robert Venditti run, which I still really love during the Rebirth era. But
Ethan Van Sciver on the art. My God, Tyler Kirkham covers.
Tyler Kirkham, it was awesome.
The Grant Morrison one that they did right after that was a little, you know, it was a little.
The first volume was okay.
It was fun
because like, he punched a guy who looked like God. He just like,
yes,
sure. But the second volume, like you said, it just went out there.
Yeah,
after that
much for me.
But I would say for me, like it would have to be take an approach that Grant Morrison did back in '97 with Justice League. You know, have it be the big 7, whatever, on the team, most iconic characters, but get the best writer and the best artist. Don't do what Scott Snyder did, because that I completely disagree with everything he did with the Justice League and everything that's been done with the Justice League since then. Like I would get, you know, someone like Robert Venditti, you know, on the Justice League, and for artists, it would either be Dan Mora, Jorge Jimenez. Yes, Jorge Jimenez or Dan Mora on the art.
I will say, I think too, if you did that Justice League team, Martian Manhunter needs to be on there.
Yes.
I think
Batman, Bruce Wayne Batman. Kal-El Superman. Diana Wonder Woman. Got to be straight on all these things now because there's
You never know.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Yara Flor? No. We're talking about Okay.
Naomi,
Naomi.
Nubia, there we go.
Nubia.
After that, you have Martian Manhunter. Then
you need actual Arthur Curry
Aquaman.
Aquaman, not Jason Momoa, Aquaman. Arthur Curry Aquaman.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Barry Allen.
Yeah, no. I'll go with Wally.
Wally.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And then Hal, John, Green Lantern.
You know, I'm gonna toss in a wild card. You know,
Guy Gardner.
Yes.
Okay. Don't you say? Oh my goodness.
Guy Gardner is my boy. I love
he's
Guy.
Underrated.
Yes.
The older I get, the more I appreciate Guy Gardner.
Because he's a cocky douchebag.
Because everyone else is away, and Guy is on Earth, and Guy is the one left. It's like they're like, we don't even have what's her face, who was the Yellow Lantern. You know, it's like, we got Guy. Shit. And it's like, Guy is their one guy. They
he's just like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Come on, I'd even pick Kyle Rayner over, no, I'm kidding. I mean, I do like Kyle because we saw him as a White Lantern at one point in time. Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
God, he's all powerful White Lantern.
The God tier White Lantern.
Yeah, he had the white power.
It's his logo is just a big white fist on his chest.
So I loved how Guy was written by Robert Venditti and how Jeff Johns wrote him. Perfect character, and Keith Giffen wrote him. Perfect. They understood the character, and it's
Tom King.
But I think throwing him in as a wild card, adding that humor and just that smarminess, it's perfect. Just a great wrench into the machine. It's like. They're all like, we're really stuck with this guy. Yeah. They can't wait. Where are these guys out in space at?
Especially having Wally instead of Barry as Flash. So you need that juxtaposition. It'd be great.
And that would be, and you know what? That's what's cool too, is that you do have your core 3. I think you always have to have your core 3. I think you need Kal-El, Bruce Wayne, and Diana. Thank you.
Yep.
I think those need to be your core, but then look at Grant Morrison's run. He had Kyle Rayner as Green Lantern and Hookman, Arthur Curry for Aquaman, but it still worked, because you had your core 3 there. So I do think that you can have some fun. Like you said, instead of Barry Allen, put Wally West there, see how he does. So, but yeah. Where is Venditti? He's not been writing anything in a while.
If you read the hardcover for Superman 78, which he brilliantly wrote last year, on the inside flap, it says he is working on the sequel to Superman 78. He's working on the follow-up to that right now.
79.
Superman 69.
Oh.
So
even better.
Yeah. So I mean, so Robert Venditti has been kind of.
It's amazing.
It's unfortunate.
It's so funny, like how he's the go-to guy for all of us fans. Like Robert, you, Kyle, me, Wes, we all want Robert on all these projects because we understand Robert gets these characters. Robert is a terrific writer. He knows he knows who they are.
And yet the unfortunate thing is that he's not even like he's working for Bad Idea right now. Bad Idea Comics, which is like a bad idea.
Yeah.
They have completely lived up to their name at this point in time, where initially I thought that they were putting out good stuff. Now it's like, buy this donut to maybe get a pin to where you can be accessed into a party that might get you another comic book that could get you another donut for another comic book. And I'm like, fuck off. What,
I'm there. I'm going to go through all those steps because it's awesome.
What is this marketing technique? It is abysmal. It is absolutely asinine, and they're ruining these writers and artists because it's like, how are you supposed to get these books in people's hands, dude? Oh well. Riker 1776 says, "Hail, my dudes! Hail to you, my man!
Hail to thee!
Hail to thy!" So yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I like Rob a lot. We I call him Rob. We're on that kind of level now.
Yeah, Sean and I, we met him at MegaCon a couple years ago.
Oh, cool.
Like, hey, Rob, my good man.
Shut up real quick.
One of the best moments I've ever had at a convention was like 2 years ago. I've told the story a few times. You know the story. We're at MegaCon and Dan DiDio sitting right next to Robert Venditti. I'll never forget this. My first time talking to Dan DiDio in person. Sean was right next to me. So you asked Sean. Sean loves the Tom King Batman run. Sean loves it.
Ooh.
Yes. So I'm with Sean. Sean's talking to Dan. He's like, "Oh man, the best stuff you did was the Tom King Batman run." And Dan, I'll never forget. Dan said, "Oh, I hated it. I hated that run." And it just repeatedly he said that, and I'm laughing out loud. I'm just like, "Oh my god!" it was great.
Oh, I love that.
Publisher of it say that. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. You're probably like, now, how much did someone pay you to say that? And he's like, no, I legitimately hated it.
Hated every minute of it.
That's great. I think every now and then we kind of got to tell Sean, your takes are, you got some bad takes, my man. You got some really bad takes.
Eternals or
Heroes in Crisis.
Heroes in Crisis, and oh boy. Well, none the Eternals movie and the Eternals comic book.
Yeah.
Killing me. Oh well. Well, we are at the 3-hour mark. Thank you guys so much, chat, for being here with me. I had told the guys earlier in our group chat that I was going to try and keep it like strict to like 2 hours because I got a paper and a final and everything I'm studying for. And then Aaron popped in, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll stay up an extra hour tonight studying. It's not a big deal, which is, thanks to our sponsor, Geek Grind Coffee. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you, Geek Grind Coffee. I like your new geek blend of dark matter roast or whatever.
Yes, yeah. So thank you guys again for being here, chat. You guys are always awesome. Next time we will be on the Comic Slate channel. And I think I will be able to make it. I need to check my schedule, but yeah, I don't think I'll have a final that day or anything. But yeah, hopefully we get some better books next week.
You'll be there.
Oh, you will be there. Even if it's just like my phone.
Yep.
Maybe I can just do that. But yeah, do you know what books are coming out next week? Have you guys started reading those yet? Potentially,
our books just came in. We're cracking those open tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
So our parents just sold their house, so we're helping them move out their beds. Yeah. So Kyle not only sells his house, my parents sell their house, and it's like, what is going on here? Yeah.
Damn. So, well, hopefully, you guys move safely. Everything is it's I just remember Jerry getting asked by the baseball player to help him move, and he's like, this is too soon.
Yes, yeah.
Is that Drew Hernandez? Yeah.
Ooh, Ooh, interesting week. We have got World's Finest.
Ooh, World's Finest.
Yeah.
The amazing Steve Spiderman, number 24.
Ooh.
The Flash.
Is that the Zeb Wells or is that the Dan Slott?
Oh no, this is Zeb Wells and Amazing Steve Spiderman. Yeah.
Okay.
Nightwing 103. Superman number 3, which I sent you guys the PDFs to. You guys.
I need to look at that. Yeah.
One of the perks of being with us, hanging around with us, to this PDF.
Very true. Very true.
Ooh, She-Bulk,
Wonder Woman, X-Farce, Catwoman,
oh man,
Gunslinger.
Finally. Wait, when was the last issue?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute.
Deceased were the undead gods.
Oh, is this the final one?
I think so. Yeah, number 8.
Maybe
Yeah,
one more.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn.
Black Adam number 10. Rogue Sun. Extreme X-Men.
Wasted art.
Avengers Assemble. Omega Alpha Centurion Omega.
Writing that, Jason Aaron.
Yes, it is. Of course.
Fuck me. How many Avengers do you have?
Bishop War College. God damn it.
Oh, the Black X-Men, our favorite. Yeah.
Oh, and the new series I actually did like. I don't think you read it. It was called No One by Kyle Higgins.
Oh yeah, you did read that one. That's right.
Yeah.
And it got good praise. Like cover price had it on speculator market for $15.
It's just one of those where he just tosses you into the world with this guy. This is what's going on. It's like you got sink or swim with this, and it's good. I actually dug it. Hellcat number 2.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah.
There we go.
Captain America Unforgiven number 1.
Jesus fucking God.
Darkwing Duck number 4. There we go. I'll send those pages to Aaron. Sure he'll love it.
I'm sure he'll love that.
Warlock Rebirth number 1 from Marvel. So see how that goes.
Oh boy.
Ronin book 2 number 3. Magic Order 4 number 4 comes out.
Okay, Mark Miller.
This is a solid week.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh God, there's more.
Yeah. But wait.
Yeah.
Oh, Chicken Dog.
They're still around.
Wow.
All right.
Oh boy.
Exo Man of War Unconquered number 2. Here we go.
Wasted art.
Just look at the art. Just look at the art.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for looking through those because I have no idea what's coming out next week. So, but hey, as long as World's Finest is on there, it's gonna be a good week. Gonna be good because even after reading all that crap, I feel like you read World's Finest and it's like a breath of fresh air, and it's just like, this is what a comic book is.
And I will say, it was great. I got to read it ahead of time, reading Shazam number 1 that he did with Dan Mora.
Mm-hmm.
I dug it. I really dug it. Yeah.
Good. I have that PDF, so I need to read it whenever I get a chance here. But
it was just like it was like last week I was here in the office. I was exploring any of the new stuff that dropped. Like, holy crap, a metric ton of reader copies just dropped.
Yeah.
So,
Sweet. Well, thank you guys again for being on and hanging out for 3 hours of your night. It's always really great to talk to you guys and hang out and get your perspective on things, especially like that first video. We were talking behind the scenes and going like saying the same exact things. We were like, yep, this is we need to talk about this. This is not right. So, look out for Comics Elite on Monday. They'll be dropping their Skip It's Mez and their top, who knows anymore? Their top 5, top 10? Who knows?
I hope. Try for it. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We're lucky. And if you go to your local comic book shop, see if Born of Blood number 6 is available. It's the final issue. Wraps up everything. Neat little package. Yeah. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys again for being on. Anything else you guys want to plug before we dip out? Or
nope.
No?
Cool.
Nope. All right. I got nothing.
Nothing.
All right, see you guys. I got to find the outro and all that stuff. But it is a pleasure, chat. Thank you guys again for being here. We'll see you next week on the Comics Elite channel. Have a great rest of the week. Take care, and I'll see you guys soon.